The views and events expressed here are totally whacked and are not necessarily the views of anyone.
Choose your destiny.
Dime qué tú quieres, papi. ¿Quieres que lo mueva para ti? Mueve, mueve. ¿Te gusta cuando me muevo así? Así.
Thank you, God, for this day we have lived, everything in our life, our health, our family, the guidance you have given us, allow us guidance to the path of righteousness. Amen.
Really, I'ma get that bitch. Revenge is a dish best served cold. She took my son, now my soul is cold. He took my daddy, now my soul is old. Yeah. Woke up. Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna dub.
King Chaka ENT. Y'all can check out the music on Spotify, Apple, and other services. Doing what we do 3 to 4 nights a week. King Chaka ENT. From the
She
back
starts
seat.
shooting.
Ow!
That dude was like, ow.
What was that?
Outside the car,
That nigga
deputies'
got
body
popped.
cameras capturing the bullets flying through the air.
We got shots fired
couldn't
up
have been
here.
a straight
We
shot.
need
It had
backup
to be-
immediately. Start
Are you-
EMS. Start EMS.
What
We got
the
a
fuck?
civilian. We got a civilian hit.
The deputy.
Looks like we got us another hit.
This is copyright.gov, U.S. Copyright Office. More information on fair use. Fair use is a legal doctrine that promotes freedom of expression by permitting the unlicensed use of copyright-protected works in certain circumstances. Section 107 of the Copyright Act provides the statutory framework for determining whether something is a fair use and identifies certain types of uses such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research as examples of activities that may qualify as fair use. Section 107 calls for consideration of the following 4 factors in evaluating a question of fair use: purpose and character of the use, including whether the use of the commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes, nature of the copyrighted work, amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole, effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. Okay, so anything I use for you guys, hit me up if you want me to remove it, edit it, or whatever. Nothing is used to infringe on anybody's intellectual property. I don't intend on doing that, and I don't intend on profiting from anyone's intellectual property. So I'm glad to edit or delete anything that's any of my videos that I've used of anybody. So that's it. Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, an educated public cannot be controlled. Learn to be active. The views and events expressed here are totally whacked and are not necessarily the views of anyone. Yeah, at war with ignorance is the name of the show today. I ain't gonna lie, I'm feeling kind of down. Not like in my life, but just like I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling tired, you know. Um, at war with ignorance. That's a hopeless battle. That's completely hopeless. And yet I go on fighting. And I'm either crazy or stupid. I don't know. Maybe a combination of the two. Like I say, I'm definitely feeling some kind of way. There was a movie. It was called Lovely Bones. It was like a thriller horror story where it was really following the ghost of this young girl who was killed. And she was killed by her neighbor. And the movie kind of follows her and her family, and it's like the dad and the mom, they end up getting a divorce. The dad kind of goes crazy. And the killer never gets caught. The killer gets away with it. At the end of the movie, he dies, but he dies as an old man. He dies alone with in like a freak accident. And it's like, where's the justice? Like, that movie leaves you very unsettled. I've watched it a couple times, and it's really kind of painful to watch. I ain't gonna lie. Excuse me, but I think it's a lot like what life is really like. You know, those kind of stories are the ones that's more real to me because, you know, justice don't always come. Like in a lot of movies, okay, the good guys win, the bad guys lose, and then the movie goes off. You know, but in life, that isn't necessarily. I would say that that's not the case most of the time. I think maybe sometimes that happens, but I think more times than not, it actually goes the other way. You know, where the bad guy never gets caught. You know, gets away with it, and he lives a long, fruitful life. You know. It's really, really, really sad. So I don't know. That's just one. I just was thinking about that in the idea of like the war against ignorance. It's hopeless, I think. You know, even though I keep pushing on, trying to help people is hopeless. Like I've spent a lot of time in my life, and I think that I've hurt myself in many ways. You know, trying to help people. And I've been really trying to figure out how do you actually do that, because I've mentioned it before in the show, like giving people money most of the time doesn't really help them, you know, like you pay somebody's rent one month and then and the next month they just need money for their rent again. Like you didn't really help them. Maybe you prolonged the inevitable, you know, you enabled them or whatever, you know. So, like I say, I don't know how to actually help people. So that's part of the reason why I do this show is trying to, you know, figure out how to help people. I feel like educating them is the best way, like trying to get them to be more aware. But the problem with that is that the person has to want to be more aware, you know, they have to want to improve. They have to want to do better, you know. So basically they have to help themselves. So trying to help someone, you know, in a lot of cases is kind of a mute point. You know, and then I like to say a lot of times I don't like to give advice. I don't really like to give advice to people, you know, but when you think about it, it's like that's the best you can do for them, you know, give them a good word, you know, they take it or they leave it, and you know, you've done your part. Because the way I feel about things, like I like to walk in integrity, you know, so in every moment. So when a moment comes around where there's something that needs to be said and no one says it, then I feel obligated to say it, and that's as much as I can really do is say what needs to be said. If it's heard or not, that's not on me. I've done it. I've put it out in the universe, and I feel like I've done my part. So that's kind of what I'm doing with this show. And I just, the difficulty, like I say, the hopelessness of it is really, really painful. There's a song by J. Rue the Damager, and in the song he says, he says, I'm trying to kill ignorance. And then they're like, that doesn't make no sense. He rules the world. I know this from experience. And I think that's true. I think that that ignorance rules the world, and the people that you want to call evil or whatever, the bad people, the ones that take advantage of people's ignorance. I don't know that you can necessarily call them evil, although I don't really like it. I really hate it when I see people take advantage of other people, but at the same time, if you're more educated, if you're more knowledgeable about things, it's much more difficult for people to take advantage of you. So they look for the idiots. They look for the people that aren't aware. They look for the people that are ignorant, and they take advantage of them. They run them through the mill. Like it's another movie. It's Matilda, and the guy, he's like, there's an idiot born every day, and we're gonna take them for all they got. He gets up every day to take advantage of people that don't know things. Scammers. And I was talking about in the other show, it's like we're living in the age of the scammers, like the internet, all of the stuff on the internet, like majority of the stuff on the internet is a ripoff. The majority of the stuff on the internet is a lie. The majority of the stuff on the internet is fake. And then like everyone just kind of falls in line and takes it in and just, they're trying to sell you something. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
I just wanted to add that's the main thing. Like, all right, if ignorance is ruling, that means that this is mostly what people like or appreciate, or some people, to some extent, they're okay with being
like even to the point where they want to be used, they want to be taken advantage of, like it's the way of the world.
Not just used, because using somebody is not necessarily bad. Being misused is more acceptable, or because we talk about different people. Like I had a conversation about dating, and it's like, okay, you don't like when this person cheats on you, but you choose the cheating type. That's the one that you enjoy, you have fun with. But then when the playtime when it's over, after he cheats and you're not, like, now you're sad again. So it's like, why not choose someone who is more responsible with your heart?
And you're screwing yourself mentally. It's like you're expecting disappointment. You're expecting them to lie. You expect them to, to take advantage of you. And then, what's so crazy about that is when you tell someone the truth and they think it's a lie. When you lie to them, they take that as the truth. That's crazy. That's a so twisted mental right there. Like, like I say, you expect people to take advantage of you, and when they're not trying to take advantage of you, when they're trying to be kind, when they're trying to help you, then they look at you like you're crazy and you're weird. They really just don't understand it. It's like they don't get it. It's like something is wrong with you. If you want to help me, like, what, you trying to help me? You trying to help Ike?
Don't you know I'm a fool?
You trying to help Ike? Ike ain't the one that need the help around here. Did somebody say coke? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm just feeling kind of down. I think that I'm feeling down just because I'm like tired. I think I'm physically tired, but I'm also like emotionally tired, you know?
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, we all go through it. I mean, at times, I mean, shoot, I kind of have my periods as well. So, but I mean, that's one thing about, when you're someone who follows nature, you learn to accept those things. Okay, the that imbalance, you're gonna have the out of balance, you're gonna have imbalance, you're gonna have the neutral, you're gonna be like somewhere in that, on that range. So it's like you just take it as it goes. I mean,
Yeah, you're supposed to go with the flow. You indulge in it. It's like you're supposed to be in the moment. So, you know that sometimes it'll be good moments and sometimes they're bad moments and sometimes they're just neutral moments. And that is part of the universe, the cycles of the universe. That is how the balance works.
yeah,
So, I
sure,
think that being aware of it is what is important. When you get
definitely.
when you're not aware of it and you sucked into it and you think that you should be up all the time or you think that things should be good all the time and you think that that's not how life works.
Mm-mm.
you know there's another movie, The Professional, um the movie about the guy with the little girl. Her family got killed and this dude was an assassin. She asked him, she said, is life always this hard? And he's like, yeah, it's always this way.
Hmm.
Like when I first saw that movie, you expect because he's talking to a child, you expect him
Hmm.
to say, something uplifting, something, to make him feel better, but he doesn't.
Hmm.
He just says,
Well,
"Yeah,
well,
it is like
but I
this."
can appreciate that more than the lies, and that's like one of the things that I already see happening because we have already gone through a generation, at least a generation, maybe, I don't know, a couple of eras for sure, of children being rewarded for losing, for being a loser. So when you start to see that changing, like the aftermath of it is this, they have expectations of things that they didn't work for, like, or didn't prove themselves for. It's just like, okay, yeah, but I want it, like, type of idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't deserve it, but I want it.
Yeah, but I'm
I
not
don't.
willing to do anything for it. And it's
Yeah.
like I could have easily made the title, The War with Laziness, because I think that the laziness and the ignorance kind of go together, It maybe the same thing,
Yeah.
I don't care to spend the time to actually learn anything, and I'm willing to just accept whatever the hell happens as a result. Like, just kind of go with the flow as far as like, you know, go, go along to get along, or do whatever I have to do to get by. Do as little as possible, learn as little as possible,
Mm-hmm.
just to get on to the next day.
It's enough just to.
But then you're stuck in this cycle. You're stuck in this cycle where you keep on running into the same problems, you keep on getting the same results, and you're thinking that something's going to be different, and it's not because you haven't put in any effort to make it any different. And then you lie to yourself, and then you get caught up in certain moments like, you know, pleasure, right? Because that's another
Hmm.
thing, we indulge in huge amounts of pleasure. There's a quote somewhere where it's like hell, a hell that's full of all of the pleasures that you could imagine. You know, you're in a hell of pleasures. You're indulging all of these pleasures, but it's
Hmm.
really not. It's really hell.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty good description of the world that we live in. We have all these gadgets. You know, you have the porn, and you have the sex robots or the sex machines, and you have the drugs, you have the all the entertainment that you could possibly think of. You're scrolling on these TikToks and you're watching these TV shows or whatever, and it's all just like telling you what you want to hear. One of the things I find really funny is like the shows that try to make you feel smart with using all these big words and stuff, and you feel like stuff like the Law and Order type shows, like
Mhm.
like I understand the law now. Like I could be a FBI
Oh my
agent.
God.
I watch so much Law and Order. I could do their
I
job
can be
better than
I
them.
can be a detective.
Yeah.
Like I told y'all, I like
Like
people
I
really.
knew what was gonna happen. Shit, I had figured it out at the beginning of the episode, but they don't realize that's what the show is doing. It's it's feeding you this and making you feel like you're smart and like you're figuring it out. It's all totally leading you in this direction. I can't even enjoy that stuff because you already know what's gonna happen at the beginning of the damn show.
Well, that's what I'm about to say. I mean, is it not like typical? Like certain things are going to happen, about to happen in a movie, TV show, whatever. Usually because of the structure.
Right.
And
Because it has the same structure, especially the TV shows, especially the same thing happens every episode.
mhm.
That's why you already know what's gonna happen, and then it makes you feel like you're smart. But no, that's the structure of the show. It always goes the same way. It's like dun dun. What's that sound? Chichin that it makes. So funny. I was
Yeah.
watching Robot Chicken was making fun of it, and it was just like a chicken going "Bup, bup, 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 bup," and then it would go dun dun, just like the show. And the whole little skit was just that. But you already knew without them saying any words, you knew what they were saying
Mhm.
because it was the structure. It followed the structure of the show. Like, oh my
Mhm.
god. They
Yeah, man.
they don't even have to say no words. You already know what the hell they're saying. You
Yeah,
you can watch the Law and Order show without the sound and you could follow it completely.
pretty much. It's like, oh, they got a lead. Oh, that's his. Okay, you see who they, you see them getting ready to head out to some place. They getting in the cop car, or they doing something. It's like, oh, okay, they found them a lead. They're heading out to the lead. You see them there talking to somebody. No, you see them approaching. The guy starts getting ready to run. Like I don't know. It's
Same
weird, but
thing.
yeah. But yeah, man.
I
I
get stuck in those sometimes, and that show it could, how they play them on, and you could just watch them back to back to back to back, and then you're just like stuck there watching it like a whole season of it, and you're all into it,
You
and
know,
it's just
you know what I hate getting caught up on? I mean, getting stuck watching because like I hate it, but I like it. Like I mean, it's interesting, but I really hate that I like it. And it's pretty much those shows that pop up on I what is it? ID? Uh Investigation Discovery. And they have those. It's kind of like CSI, but real stories. You know what I'm saying? You never heard of that?
nah. Is it new? Is it kind of
I
new?
It's a TV station. It's a network. Identification
Oh,
Investigation. It's a Discovery Channel, but it's Investigation Discovery. Um, they have all kind of cop shows. They got this one where it shows all of these women that are like the women who have all of these murderous tendencies, the cold cases. They have,
yeah. I'm more likely to watch something like that. The ones that's actually true stories, like really true stories,
yeah,
stuff
you
that actually
probably see.
happened.
I'm sure you've seen them before. You just maybe didn't realize that that's the network and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But I hate that I like that stuff because I mean I try not to, fill my mind up with craziness. Because I'm,
Yes.
you know, like honestly, I scare myself because like some of my dreams are so real that certain things I gotta try to stay away from. I gotta, you know, keep my mind on something more positive.
Yeah, well, all that stuff is addictive. It's intended to. I try not to watch the TV shows like the series because I have HBO Max and I'll get on there every now and then. But you get stuck in one of those, the shows, and then you're waiting for the next one to come on, come out and all of that stuff, and it'll get me, and I'll be waiting for the next. But that's when I know my personality. I have an addictive personality, so. That's another reason why I really don't watch TV. I really don't, because I fuck around and get caught up in some kind of show, and I'll binge watch it, the whole thing, and maybe not even go to sleep, like for 3 days.
Oh damn! Oh hell no!
Yeah, I got it bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last series I got stuck on because it's got to be either Dexter or Breaking Bad.
Yeah, when I first saw Breaking Bad, it got me, and it was already over once I got into it. So I literally did what I just said. Like I literally watched the whole thing.
A whole season one night.
Not just the season. I'm talking about I watched the whole fucking thing in
Everything.
like a week.
Because I think it was like two or three seasons, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was a number of seasons. I watched it all in like a week.
Oh, in a week, okay.
And I'm telling you, man, and I fucking didn't get no sleep. It was really good. I enjoyed Breaking Bad. That was pretty good.
Hey, that was a good story.
They did a really good job with that show. I even watched that little follow-up one. There was a follow-up movie of like what happened to Jesse.
No, Better Call Saul. Oh
no, not the spinoff. That's Better Call Saul, not the
okay.
spinoff. There was like a movie that they did that showed what happened to Jesse or whatever after the show. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I missed that part.
Yeah. So yeah, I hey, the last show I got into was Westworld. They canceled it too. It was supposed to be one more season of it, and they decided not to. A lot of these networks are doing that. They're cutting costs, and Westworld was an expensive show to produce, so they paid all the actors for the next season that they were supposed to do, and canceled the show. And that saved them a bunch of money. Like a lot of these, they're cutting. It's happening across the board where they're cutting their expenses.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. And that's crazy because HBO is like the biggest one. They have the biggest budgets. Like their whole thing is making like a TV show that looks like a movie.
Well, I don't know if they really have as big of a budget as they used to because if you really think about it, what used to be like the big spectacular thing?
Well, they still do. They have the Game of Thrones spinoff. House of the Dragon. No. That's a really expensive show to produce.
You got to think about this. They don't have commercials, advertisements, because that's usually where a network usually makes their money.
Well, HBO never relied on that because since I was a kid, I watched HBO. My dad.
It's subscription. It's subscription based.
Yeah.
But my point I'm trying to get to is like one of the things that it offered that other people didn't offer at one time. Wasn't it like the home of boxing?
They did. Don't they still do that?
I don't know about HBO.
Yeah.
Because pay-per-view is separate now, like they used to. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there is a pay-per-view thing, it will definitely. I don't think it's. Yeah, I think the exclusive fights were HBO. That's where a lot of their money was made, and then when they start thinking they're bigger than the art. Like the boxing itself. Come on. You're
Yeah.
losing a whole bunch of money.
Well,
It's just
everything. No, they're making more money. That's why they broken up everything. You have to buy separate subscriptions for everything now. And you used to be able to watch all the football games, even if you just had regular TV. But now a lot of the games aren't even on unless you have NFL Network or whatever. You got to get that subscription to see all the games.
yeah, I ain't into it that much.
Yeah, man. You know me. I don't watch none of that stuff. I'm getting like a buzzing going on in my earphones. I don't know if it's me. It's kind of bothering me.
Might be
down
me because I'm trying to charge my headphones.
and my green
All right,
screen is acting
tell
up. Yeah, it stopped. Yeah, it stopped.
okay. It might have a good enough charge for tonight's show. I'll plug it up before I go to bed.
All right, man. So how you feeling, man?
I mean, I actually feel pretty good, man. It's it's been a week. Well, shoot, man, it's been crazy the last few weeks, but I'm actually feeling pretty damn good.
That's good, man. Shit,
How about
I've been trying to, I lost my wallet on Christmas Eve, and I've been having hell trying to get all my shit back. I still haven't got my driver's license back. They said I gotta go to the insurance people and get a SR22. That's the next thing.
SR22?
That's what they said. Like, what the hell is that, anyways?
I don't know. The SR22, I knew what. No, it was a R22. It said SR22. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I already paid a bunch of money. They had like a hold on my driver's license, something, and I paid like $100 and something when I went down there to the DMV, and I was there for hours, and I thought I was about to get my stuff, and then he was like, "Nope, you got to go to your insurance and get an SR22 and then come back." I was like, "Oh God, man!" And it's hell doing this because you have to schedule an appointment now. You can't just walk into the DMV. You have to schedule a damn appointment. And then in certain locations, all the appointments are booked up. So when I went way out 45 North, way to hell to the Mega Center, because that was the only one that had a fucking appointment. Anyways, it's just been hell. I haven't got my Social Security card back. Because I didn't have all the proper paperwork. They was like, they told me I have to go and get my transcript from school because the stuff that I had was no good. That shit has been a pain, bro. I got my credit cards for my Chase Bank, but my other bank, my Bank of Texas, I haven't gotten that because I can't get into the app and I don't have my ID. So, and in my wallet, I had my account numbers and stuff, and I don't have that. So I haven't been able to get those cards. It's just been a mess. Stressful.
It'll come along.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
Everything
it
will
together.
start popping up before you even just
Yeah.
let it be. It is what it is,
It is what it is. I had applied for my passport before I lost my wallet. A passport comes, then that'll help. I can use that, but I don't have that yet either. So, anyways, that's just my little drama that I'm going through. Check this post that I have up here on the screen. It says, "This is insane. Moderna is planning to charge $130 for its COVID vaccine. It only costs $2.85 to make. Taxpayers paid 100% of Moderna's COVID vaccine development. We paid," what is this number here? It looks like $2,500,000,000, or is that 2,500,000? That's what it is, right? It's a lot of fucking zeros right there. A lot. We paid a lot. And then it says, this is the people's vaccine. Shame on Moderna into changing course. The caption, Public Citizen posted this. They said, this is the people's vaccine, not Big Pharma. One of the comments, it says, how can they legally get away with this? I'm saying. Another comment, it says, we actually pay for a lot of pharma research and development. I believe they spend more on advertising and lobbying than research and development. NIH tax payers foot the bill for so much of that. And I know we talked about this in the show before, but this shit right here really drives me freaking batshit crazy that everybody should be mad at this. I mean, I don't care anything about the vaccine, but this is just like related to healthcare in general. Like, you know, the taxpayers pay for all the research and development, and then a private firm gets to reap all of the freaking profits from that. And then basically they're charging it right back to us, the same people who pay for the research. What the F?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, most of Americans have bought into being losers, because especially when we come to healthcare, we've accepted that okay, there's no cures for anything, and nor are we really trying to get a cure, because we need y'all to stay sick. We need to be able to continue running.
You need to make profit. We gotta make. We want to be rich. We want to.
Y'all are well. This messes with my bottom line.
We want a yacht big enough to park our other boat in, and we can drive our Lambo into it. We need that.
Okay, Creflo.
We really need that. You know, God said I should have a yacht with a smaller yacht in it that can park my Lambo. That's what God said, and that's what it is.
Oh, y'all gonna put me on a donkey? I mean, is that y'all plan?
Yeah, I mean, like I can't be riding a donkey. I'm spreading God's word. How am I gonna be spreading God's word on a donkey? I don't know. It's crazy. So the frustrating part of that is that the people just accept this shit and it's like, you know, there's nothing we can do about it. It just is what it is. Yesterday I was talking about they have an Alzheimer's drug that they're coming out with. It's intravenous, and it's supposed to help with the actual, you know, it's for Alzheimer's, and you know all of the drugs up to now just kind of treated the symptoms of Alzheimer's, and it didn't really, because you know Alzheimer's over time is a deteriorating disease, and it you know eventually kills you. And all the drugs that they had, Alzheimer's, you know, when you can't remember. So but they have this new drug that's about to come out. They finished it and it's in trials. And it's supposed to fight against Alzheimer's, you know, the actual condition of Alzheimer's. But they said it's going to be like $26,000 a year for you to pay for this drug.
Nah. Say, bro. The reason why people like Sabian, others that have gotten unalived for, you know, teaching people how to take care of themselves and be disease free. I mean, say, bro, Alzheimer's is pretty much where you have parasites that's moved from your stomach up into your brain. Like, because I mean, everything starts in your stomach, but it moves to different parts of your body. So, I mean, you know, an acidic body is gonna grow more bad bacteria, you know, parasites, this, that, and the other. You just pretty much need to be more alkaline, you know, not to the point to where you go into alkalosis, but like you got to keep that balance so that you. But that's mainly what happens with Alzheimer's is pretty much those parasites, those that they're moving around the different parts of your body. They've already messed with your sensory system to make you crave things that's gonna make them thrive. So, but
It's just super
the
sad that they
the
that
drug,
you know and our system is a what do you call it? It's not preventative. It's kind of like our law system, like our punitive system. It's not preventative. It's all about after the fact. It's all about, what's the word I'm looking for? After the crime is done, then we do something. After you're sick, then we try to do something. It's not about
it's not being
keep.
proactive.
It's not trying to keep you from getting sick, and that's not the focus. The
Mhm.
focus is wait till you get sick, and then we'll try to do, like, we can't do nothing for you until you get sick.
And we'll pacify it
And
to
now it's
string you
super.
along.
Now it's super expensive. Now it's like the cancer stuff. Instead of doing things to keep you from getting cancer in the first place, they just be like, wait till you get cancer, and then
We'll
and
hook you up.
and chemotherapy is so freaking ridiculous as an idea of how to, like, you're killing all of your cells to try to get to these certain cells
That's
that are bad.
see, and yeah, that is a horrible idea. And then anything with a 30% success rate, give or take 30 something percent success rate, is in most places is considered a failure.
That's a failure. So, and it's like, and at the end, the people die. They have cancer, and then it's like, did they die from the cancer or did they die from the fucking chemotherapy?
Um, I would say, I mean, ultimately, you could say that the chemotherapy usually kills them because, like I said, everything that is inside of you to fight against disease, you've killed it. Like, I mean, when people, most people don't know how the immune system really works. That's why we have so many people afraid and running to different, get what because of this the new disease, new sickness, or whatever, infectious disease, whatever how you want to just call it. But if you give your cells the proper nutrients, the food that it needs, you know oxygenate the cells so that they can be stronger to be able to fight off those things, you have a much better chance of surviving than to trying to wipe out everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then, pretty much having somebody starting all over fresh when, you know, really God has given you certain things that you could have built on instead of tearing it down.
And you know that the guy that came up with the chemotherapy, he originally was doing I don't want to say it wrong. I want to say Zyklon B, but he was doing chemical. He helped them with the chemical warfare. He the one who came up with that stuff. Was helping, being really good at killing people. And then after the war, he came out with the chemotherapy, and they use that for people who have cancer. Like, that's so crazy to me that you use a procedure that it was originally used to kill people. Now it's supposed to save people.
Hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting theory.
That's crazy. And it's like now, and like aspirin is really a poison. Now, in their defense, though, it's like small doses of poison can actually be good for you. Get what I'm saying? Uh, but the idea of using poison to cure you is a crazy idea. I mean, just from the jump.
Uh, yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't know. Hey, I'm sure to somebody it made sense, but for me, eh, not so much.
Let me
But like I
play.
said, the whole idea is not really to cure you. They're like if you listen to the terminology purposely done so that it's not they're not liable for not curing you or giving like it's treatment. They have a treatment plan that should help, and we're gonna try this. And like, no, man, look, there's actual homeopathic doctors that'll tell you straight up, all right, you dealing with such and such, all right, you do this, and this, because the science doesn't change. That's the thing that what I'm saying. Like people's perception of science might change, but science itself does not change. You know, but it is what it is.
Craziness. Let me do this right quick. They're talking about the RICO thing. I think a lot of people don't really understand the RICO stuff. So I want to do this right here. The RICO Act, the law that destroyed the mob and now making its way through hip hop. They're using the RICO. That's what they're getting Young Thug with.
Mm-hmm.
Let me play this.
To have a crime business. So I can go rob a bank. That's a crime. You and I could agree to go rob a bank. That's a conspiracy. We give an extra penalty to this. But suppose we agree that for the next 20 years, we're going to rob 5 banks a year. Now we've established a RICO enterprise. We've established an informal business to commit crime. Now, what does that allow you to do? It allows you to put them in prison for a lot longer. But the most important thing it allows you to do is to seize their property. And the biggest problem with the mafia now was, for a long time, Hoover ignored it. Then they started prosecuting it. But all they were doing was helping the line of succession. They'd take number 1 out. They'd take number 2 out. There'd be a little gang war. And somebody else would take over the multi-billion-dollar business. RICO, basically...
That's what I was saying about what they were doing with El Chapo's son right now. They got El Chapo, then they got his son, and I'm like, that's not really doing anything. So this says the RICO Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Law is a federal law passed in 1970 under Nixon administration. The law was specifically created to target organized crime before 1970. The government was limited to prosecuting individual criminal as opposed to their associated organizations. The RICO law allows prosecutors to convict leaders within the organization along with any other members involved in the organization. This means that if you're a part of an organization and someone commits a crime on the organization's behalf, you too can be convicted of these same crimes. It says there are 35 specific crimes included in the RICO Act. Some of the most notable crimes include gambling, murder, kidnapping, extortion, arson, robbery, bribery, counterfeiting, theft, embezzlement, fraud, obstruction of justice, slavery, money laundering, commission of murder for hire, bankruptcy fraud, and securities fraud, criminal copyright infringement, human smuggling, acts of terrorism. If convicted of even a single crime under RICO, one could be sentenced up to 20 years. And what I think about when I read this is the corporations. It says gambling, murder, kidnapping, extortion, arson, robbery, bribery, counterfeiting, theft, embezzlement, fraud, obstruction of justice, slavery, money laundering, commission of murder for hire, bankruptcy fraud, securities fraud, criminal copyright infringement, human smuggling, acts of terrorism. Some of the big name corporations, I'm sure, a lot of these asterisk words on this list could be put to them. Well, why the hell they don't attack some of these people and charge them with RICO? They've been doing it for years. It said slavery on here. You know, none of the freaking And I be saying the money is still there. These people still have money left over from the chattel slavery that happened here in the United States. They could probably get them right now today because they had to do embezzlement, counterfeiting, you know, they had to do some of this stuff, obstruction of justice, money laundering. They don't go after them though for this stuff. It says, since its implementation, the RICO law has successfully taken down many of America's biggest kingpins and mafias. Some of the most notable cases include the Gambino family, the Luches family, Bonanno family, and even members of the Latin Kings organization. It says, in recent years, more hip-hop artists have been charged with RICO. Some famous cases include rappers such as Bobby Shmurda, Tekashi 6ix9ine, YFN Lucci, and most recently Young Thug and YSL. Let me read this. It says, in December 2014, Bobby Shmurda and 13 GS9 members were charged with conspiracy to violate the RICO Act. The crew faced 101 charges, including narcotic sales, murder, assault, and weapons possession. In 2016, he took a plea deal and was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Another one, it says, in 2021, YFN Lucci and 11 other individuals were charged in RICO case. Their charges included racketeering, aggravated assault, murder, gun, armed robbery, property damage, theft, and other gang-related charges. And it says, in 2019, Tekashi 6ix9ine was charged in a RICO case for his affiliation with the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods. He pled guilty to racketeering, firearms, and drug trafficking charges. He was sentenced to 5 years, supervised release, and 300 hours of community service. It's crazy how 6ix9ine got off on that. And then it says, in 2022, Young Thug and 29 other YSL members were charged in a 56-count indictment. The charges included murder, armed robbery, theft, and many others. The evidence penned against them stemmed from years of social media posts with rivals and self-incriminating rap lyrics. So it says, glossary, racketeer, the federal crime of conspiring to organize to commit crimes, particularly as regular business. Indictment, a charge of a felony, serious crime, voted by a grand jury based upon a proposed charge, witnesses' testimony, and other evidence presented by the public prosecutor, district attorney. Embezzlement, the crimes of stealing the funds or property of an employer, company, or government, or misappropriating money as assets held in trust. Richard Nixon, the 37th President of the United States, serving from 1969 to 1974. Sources, what is the RICO Act and what are its consequences? I'm not going to read that. Let's play this.
To defend, it was very expensive to defend with the lawyers. And the amount of time that they gave out. You know, anybody could have done the amount of time that we did prior to the RICO Act. But after that, you know, you telling guys, hey, he's doing 20, 30, 40 years. You're never getting parole. That's it. You know, that was the end of it. A lot of guys cooperated as a result of that because they say, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life in jail. The government overpowered the fear that we had on the street. And as a result, a lot of guys went the other way and you just couldn't overcome it. You couldn't overcome it.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And along with the witness protection program,
Exactly.
changing people's names, moving them, giving them money, doing a whole host of different things, it gave them a way out.
What happens, it was a very hard law to defend. It was very expensive to defend with the lawyers. And the amount of time.
All about the damn money. Let me play this.
On my hip, you praying that you live, I'm praying that I hit. Hey, that slime shit. Fuck the police in a high speed, 100 rounds in a Tahoe. I'm prepared to take them down. Got banana clips for all these acting monkey. That slime shit. That mob shit. Fuck.
That's the judge reading Young Thug's lyrics during the YSL RICO case. It says social media documented in YSL's indictment. Anyways, what do you think about that?
Wait, does that frustrate you as an intellect?
What do you think about that? Them using the RICO for the rappers. Craziness, right? What is this right here?
Without saying
right, who doesn't read exactly, and so and to the public, there's no difference. So on the one hand, you're put next to someone who might have a PhD, say in finance, just hypothetically, who doesn't read about black folk but calls himself a black scholar. You know, we'll call him Boyce, right? And then you got the person who just Googles stuff, right? Then you got the person who just makes stuff up and who's just engaged in kind of demagoguery, right? Then you got the white person pretending to be black on the internet with a fake profile pic. And all these people are in the same room and y'all are having a debate about whether a vaccine works. You're having a debate about, you know, the origins of civilization. You're having a debate about, God's sake, Willie Lynch, like it's 1992, right? And all this stuff is happening in a space and people can't tell the difference between you and them.
It is.
Does that frustrate you as an intellectual?
I'm not sure what their point was with this. Dr. Boyce Watkins posted this. His comment underneath, he says, "Isn't Mark Lamont Hill the guy who said men can get pregnant? Maybe he's feeling a bit hormonal. He could be expecting." Oh, Dr. Boyce. Yeah, I fucks with Dr. Boyce. I don't agree with him all the time, but this one right here says, on his first day as president, Lula da Silva has already made massive changes into indigenous policy by placing indigenous people as leaders. That's interesting. I'm a fan of Lula, I ain't gonna lie. That dude's been through it. He's kind of reminds me of, dang it, what's the guy from South Africa? They put him in jail for forever. And he got out and became president. Why can't I think of his name right now? It was during apartheid in South Africa. Let me read the caption. Blue Pillar posted this. He said, "I guess this is why the rioters rioting and secretly get backed by the church," shaking my head. This comment, it says, "Peace to all the Aboriginal gods and the feed been saying it like this all aftermath. Now we cannot lay down and stop doing more, but them win. Not happening yet. They are not going to leave without some fight, but most just gonna will pass out or have a weird accident." Hold on. But this indigenous Aboriginal movement is a worldwide event. Before 2023 ends, Moors will be talked about every day over the happy letter, folks organic on the rise, save the children. I didn't really get that. That was kind of all over the place. Anyways, man, when we was talking on the phone, what was we talking about? The freaking, I got a video where they're talking about Biden. What does it say? Hold on. Lion Biden abandons the poor. It says, Breonna Joy Gray makes the case that the American healthcare system will only change if voters' standards change. This is not that long of a video. I want to play it, but I don't want to lose y'all right away. And I'm not really prepared because I had to work all day. And I have some stuff that Doc sent me, but I kind of want to wait for him to get here to do that. Let me read this. It says, consumerism wants you to believe that the thing you want that rich people have is luxury. Fancy houses, fancy cars, fancy clothing. But the thing that most people actually want that rich people have is leisure. Having agency over how to spend our time is the real luxury good. I think that's a really great comment right there. Having agency over how to spend our time is the real luxury good. I think that's what it is. And me, I study anthropology, and they were saying that the hunter and gatherers spent all their time looking for food and on the edge of starvation. It says this stuff still in the school books. But they know now that they didn't spend very much time. They spent most of their time in leisure. So I would say those people were very, very rich. They got to spend their time how they wanted. Unlike us today, how many of us get to spend our time how we want to spend it? We got to make money so we can pay all these damn bills that they didn't made up for us. Man, if they'll probably find a way to charge us for oxygen one day. Like, how many breaths did you take today? There's a fee for that. It was in that movie Total Recall. Y'all remember that Total Recall? That's an old movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they were on Mars. And then they had like bottled oxygen. It was like you could buy it in like a little can or whatever, a little bottle.
Canister, yeah.
Yeah, I would not be surprised, man, that if they could monetize oxygen, they would. It's because it's kind of like with the water. We live on a freaking ocean ass planet. Why the hell do we pay for water? Did our ancestors pay for water? Did our ancestors pay for shelter? Did they pay rent and mortgages? Did they even really pay for food? I think it goes back to what we were saying at the beginning of the show with the ignorance and the laziness. Because if you tell somebody, hey, you don't have to pay for food, but you got to go out there and get it, capture it or grow it, slaughter it, all of that. And I think that most of the people today would be like, I'd rather just go to the grocery store. What do you think about that? I think
well, I kind of stepped out for a sec.
I was saying that people are so lazy and ignorant that if you told them you could have food for free, you can even have free shelter and free water, except you have to go out there and get it. You have to do it. You have to grow the food. You have to catch the food. You have to process it. You have to build your shelter yourself and all of this. I think most people would just be like, I'd rather just go to the grocery store. It's much easier.
A lot will, which I mean is, and I mean I don't know. Like I think most people want to do the right thing, but I guess the ignorance part is a big key. Like if you don't know, if you don't really understand the other side of.
And look at the prices and look at the squeeze. And that's part of my frustration. That's part of why I'm feeling down, is because we're getting squeezed more and more and more. They don't pay us much at these jobs. We have to go there and be there all the damn time. And then the cost of food steadily going up. the cost of rent or your mortgage or, you know, all of the basic stuff that you have to have like shelter and water, you know, the cost continually going up, and, you know, the amount that you make is not. I saw a post where they were talking about, oh, the economy is good. We created, I don't know, 2 million jobs this year or something like that. And then the post was like, the lady said, well, yeah, I have 3 of them and I still can't pay my rent. It's all a fugazi. You know, it's when they talk about the economy and all of these jobs, and it's like, oh, the economy is good. Well, how is the economy? Who is it good for? You know, it's like all these new jobs. Well, people got to have 3 of them to freaking pay their rent, and they still live in check to check. And they work all the time. They have 0 leisure time. Because see, this post right here says, have an agency over how to spend your time is the real luxury good. I think that's true. You know, if you're wealthy, if you're truly wealthy, then you get to spend your time how you want to for the most part. The majority of us don't. We have to work all the time, or otherwise we're going to be out here under the bridge.
Yeah,
and it's illegal to be under the bridge. It's a crime to be under the bridge.
Well, yeah, it's in some places.
It's a crime to live off grid. They make it harder and harder for you to do that. You could go and build your own shelter and make your own little, like, you know, water infrastructure, and they're gonna charge
water well. What you?
Yeah, they're gonna charge you for that, or they're gonna tear your stuff up and say that you're breaking the law, because they want you to go by the regular system where you pay for everything. You know, plug into the matrix or else. You can't go live in the woods and build your own house and just catch your own food and get your water from the river. No. You're not being an upstanding citizen. You're not paying taxes. You're not, you know, feeding into the system. You're not going to the mall and buying stuff. You're not paying for gas. You're not buying cars. You're not buying appliances for your home. You're not buying new clothes. You got to buy new clothes every year. You got to have that fall collection. You know, you got to have that spring collection. You got to have that winter collection. You got to do that every year.
Yeah, I'm okay.
You like, I'll pass.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy out here. Fucking this video Jimmy Dore did about freaking Jeffries was making me laugh. Let's play some of this.
Jeffries?
Yeah, you know, he's the new House Minority Leader. He's the new golden boy of the Democratic Party. And they were like, oh my God, his speech was so awesome. I saw so many posts saying that. Oh my God, it was so awesome. He's so great. This Jimmy Dore. Let me play some of this.
Hey everybody, it's the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm Aaron Maté here with Americans comedian Kurt Metzger. And the fight over the House speakership for Kevin McCarthy wasn't the only exciting thing happening in the House of late. There also was the debut of the new Democratic House leader, Hakeem Jeffries. And check out this electrifying speech that he gave once he got the mic.
Will always put American values over autocracy, benevolence over bigotry, the Constitution over the cult, democracy over demagogues, economic opportunity over extremism, freedom over fascism, governing over gaslighting, hopefulness over hatred, inclusion over isolation.
Where's he going with this? He's basically doing what he thinks is a brilliant speech tactic of taking every letter of the alphabet and having the first word match.
Is he going to do every letter of the alphabet?
Yes. From governance over gaslighting. It gets better.
Oh my God.
Justice over judicial overreach.
Justice over judicial overreach. So you can't even keep it to one word.
Oh my God.
But this for him is a peak moment. He thinks he's on fire here. Keeps going.
Oh no.
Will always put American values over autocracy. Benevolence over bigotry. The Constitution over the cult. Democracy over demagogues. Economic opportunity over extremism. Freedom over fascism. Governing over gaslighting. Hopefulness over hatred. Inclusion over isolation. Justice over judicial overreach. Knowledge over kangaroo courts. Liberty over limitation. Maturity over Mar-a-Lago. Normalcy.
Maturity over Mar-a-Lago.
These guys are like, they gotta get. I don't know what writer. Do you think that's his own written thing, or did somebody? If somebody wrote that for him, they should fire them. Because you gotta cut that way down.
Over negativity. Opportunity over obstruction. People over politics. Quality of life issues over QAnon. Reason.
Nailed it. He nailed it. he nailed it.
Over racism.
Reason over racism. Yeah.
Substance over slander. Triumph over tyranny. Understanding over ugliness. Voting.
Not only is that way too long, they literally have never done one of those things he said.
Also, I mean, kind of a diss to ugly people to say we're gonna choose we're gonna do something against ugliness. I mean, come on.
Liberty over limitations.
Rights over voter suppression. Working families over the well-connected.
I love this one. Working families over the well-connected. No,
it's like opposite land.
But also notice how he didn't say working families over the wealthy, because he serves the wealthy. So he can't say the wealthy, so he's got to say well-connected.
Oh yeah, you can't even say the W word in that kind of way.
No, because he serves them.
Xenial over xenophobia. Yes, we can over you can't do it. And zealous representation over zero-sum confrontation.
Wow.
The crowd is eating it up.
Do the right thing.
Women over racism.
And look, the reviews are in. This is Congress member Dean Phillips, who's a Democrat. Mark my words, last night will be better remembered not for the chaos, rather as the night Hakeem Jeffries introduced himself to America.
Helping over herpes.
That will fly with a lot of members of Congress who are passing herpes all around DC. Here's a column from CNN. Opinion: Hakeem Jeffries gave the speech that Kevin McCarthy should have, but won't.
Shut up, Dean. That's Dean Obadala, comic I know for many years.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he wrote the headline because that's really bad, but I bet his opinion. Dean's a comic, okay?
Yeah.
And he's a really bad pundit now. I mean, that's like, wow.
Well, here's someone else who was very impressed.
As a comic, he thinks that someone should have also given that long-ass alphabet speech.
A to Z. Yep. A to Z. A to Z. Quality of life over QAnon, everybody. Just remember that one. Rolls off the tongue. Here is another rave review for Hakeem Jeffries. It comes from Joe Crowley. Remember, he's the guy who AOC beat in his primary, corporate Democrat. Here's what he says about Hakeem Jeffries' speech.
I certainly think that listening to Hakeem's speech last night, by the way, Reverend, one of the greatest speeches I've ever heard.
Oh my God.
Ever read or ever heard. It was just remarkable, with no teleprompter, with no speech in front of him. He had a couple of notes, but he spoke with the cadence of a Baptist minister and a hip hop artist.
Oh my God.
The cadence of a Baptist minister and a hip hop artist.
Oh, Reverend, I tell you, that speech, with the exception of the great speeches that you gave to the FBI as an informant for many years. Oh my God. This is like him saying hip hop is. Do you know that lawyer on MSNBC who says he's the hip hop lawyer?
Yes, Ari Melber. Yeah. That's
pretty cringy, but this is like parents would put on a sideways hat to tell you to not get high through rap. Oh, it had everything idiots love. That's how he said, right, kids? You're pretty cool, right? Not only did it have alphabet, it had hip hop, Baptist preacher. He couldn't even commit to the bit while he did it. He's like, beep. He had a stupid look on his face while he did. Oh, I'm actually angry at Dean. He's enough of a comic to know what a bat. Because I promise you, Dean trashed Dane Cook when it was cool to trash Dane Cook of being for stupid people, and Dean actually thought in government that's a thing someone should have said.
It was just incredible, the dignity and the grace that he showed. But also, he reached out a hand to the Republican side and said, when we can work together, let's try to work together. Let's try to find compromise to do things that benefit the American people. I'm only concerned that that may be a bridge too far for the Republicans.
Jeffries gave.
Oh my God. And then it's like people that I follow that I really kind of like listen to or whatever, that I value what they have to say. A lot of them were saying, oh, this was a great speech. It was, oh my God, it was so good. Oh my God, man. Look, where are we? How did we get here? Let me read the caption. It says, Democrat Hakeem Jeffries opened his tenure as House Minority Leader with what can only be described as an odd speech in which he methodically explained the A to Z's of differences between Democrats and Republicans. Some were calling it one of the greatest speeches of all time. And to be fair, neither Lincoln nor JFK ever delivered a speech that also proved his familiarity with English alphabet. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is where we are, people. Crazy, crazy, craziness. Yes, my daughter could have did that speech. It probably would have been better. Let me read some comments. It says, he literally described his own party, and Democrats continue to push division and hate. These are the captions underneath the Jimmy Dore video. It said, another comment, it says, the negative of each pair of words he utters is literally the Democratic Party position. Another comment, it says, he creeps me out almost as much as Adam Schiff, and if a Republican gave that speech, they would be vilified and mocked and ridiculed. I agree with that. I think so too. They would have said it was stupid, but it just shows how, you know, with the Democrats, it's like this fall in line thing, and then it's the whole media falls in line with it. Oh my God, it's a great speech. I mean, he's better than Obama. Like, get all the way the F out of here. Let me read some more comments. It says, corporate bailouts over citizen needs. There you go. That's one he should have said. Another comment, it says, well, Democrats are well versed in the English alphabet. We are all in good hands. I mean, hey, they know the alphabet. Hey, they're good at that. They're good at putting words together. They should be able to run the country really great with those skills.
Yeah, those spells.
That's funny because that's the next comment. It says, these aren't speeches anymore. They're chants. Virtual signaling chants that resonate with the dumbed down. Oh my God, that's a great fucking comment. Let me read it again. It says, these aren't speeches anymore. They are chants. Virtual signaling chants that resonate with the dumbed down. Well, a lot of educated people were feeling it too, because like I say, it was some people I was following that I look up to, and these people are very educated, and they were like, oh my God, it was a great speech. The bar is very low. I don't think it mattered what he said. And then the crowd was really eating that shit up. He could have said some stuff from
that's the thing. There's trigger words that they know that they can use.
Right.
Bring excitement. When they write these.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Exactly.
Dr. Seuss. I think Dr. Seuss could have done a better job. I think at least it would have been funny. Let me read a couple more comments. It says, that speech made me cringe so hard, all of my bones turned to dust. If this is the best the Democrats have to offer, they are well and truly lost. I will never vote for the party of Joe, you ain't black, Biden. Another comment, it says, American values over autocracy. Do you mean where a small minority lays down the law and everyone is expected to fall into line? That kind of sounds like the current American value for both U.S. citizens and people abroad. Another comment, it says, I hate our congressmen so much it's unreal. Another comment, it says, just when you get over the performative reality of contemporary American politics, you realize just how incompetent the performers are. I don't know that they're incompetent. See, that's a part that I always push back on when they say that these people are dumb and they're incompetent. No, they're doing exactly what they're performing. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Like they're not dumb and they're not incompetent. This is what they're asked to do. And they feel like it works because it does work. And then when you have such a freaking ignorant, dumbed down public, then saying words that rhyme or saying words that start with the same letter, they have a great impact.
I would say it's more possible that the everyday citizen, the public, is more incompetent than, because I mean, they're very much competent, but as far as the way that they act when the minority, the few change laws, or they show that they show their power much stronger than yours. You don't even try to fight back. You don't say nothing about anything.
Yeah, like so what really matters to us, like policy, like what legislation you guys are writing, how does that affect us? How us dealing with the high prices at the grocery store, that's all beside the point and not important.
Well, no, all right, what have we seen people get up in arms about? Okay, they get up and start protesting after somebody's murder or something, but they talk shit for a little while and that's that,
and don't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen where there's people go to school board meetings and throw a hissy fit because their child is going to get taught some different type of history than they've been, then they'll get upset about that. But when it comes down to things that can affect you, really affect, like, I mean, because just as much or more, eggs is how much?
It's too much. It keeps going up.
$8 for 18. Like it's like pretty much like, let's see, what, $6? Yeah, like 50 cents an egg.
Yeah. Psst. Yeah, you got to have deep pockets just to eat nowadays. Let me read a couple more comments. It says, I died of cringe, literally gaslighting as he projects and accuses Republicans of gaslighting. Psst, good comment. Another one, it says, this is a perfect example of political theater. This guy is merely an entertainer. And I would completely agree with that. The way he moves his hands, I think that he spent some time. I wouldn't be surprised if he worked with like an acting coach or somebody,
All of them do.
Let me read a couple more comments. It says, the lack of self-awareness on Jeffries is astonishing. Self-awareness is not what it is. Reading the crowd, maybe you could say he's not good at reading the crowd, but maybe he is because the crowd was cheering while he was talking. So self-awareness, I don't know if that's a, let me read another one. It says halfway through, people realized, oh shit, he's doing the entire alphabet. Obama always lied to us better. Yeah, this is the best they could get. Can y'all Obama was the best that they could get at doing this type of stuff. This guy is like what they say, B-list actor.
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, like, they'll make you feel like Obama at least made you feel good about his lies. Like, you knew that he wasn't gonna do the shit that he said he was gonna do, but it made you feel good about it when he did it, when he said it.
This comment right here, it says, there were two that I liked: governance over gaslighting and hope over hatred. But King Jeffries thought he was being Obama-like, but it was indeed a speech that should have been given by Elmo. Like I say, I think it sounds like freaking Dr. Seuss. The speechwriters was reading Dr. Seuss and they was like, I got an idea. This will work.
My 4-year-old got so excited last night over this. I'm sure these people get a kick out of it too.
I'm telling you, that's what they think we are. That's what we think. They think the United States citizens, the majority of us, they treat us like 4-year-olds. They it's not that the Democrats are stupid. They think we are stupid.
Yeah,
that's why they feed us this fucking bullshit.
Dum, dum, dum.
And we just eat it up. Oh, it was the best speech I've ever heard in my life. Get all the way the F out of here.
Yeah, because it wasn't shit. Like, I'm no, poetic justice, but I could have did better than that.
Telling you, like I say, one of my kids could have done a better job. Off the top of their head. Let's beat up on the Democrats a little bit more. This one is like Brianna Joy Gray. She says, Lion Biden abandons the poor, does dirty work for insurance industry. He received a lot of money. The Democrats in general receive a lot of money from the pharmaceutical industrial complex. When they be talking about these super PACs, I know a lot of people don't really understand it, but these super PACs are how they pay, for their campaigns. That's how they get elected. You can't, like I was saying before, you can't win an election nowadays without TV ads, radio ads, the billboards and stuff, because people don't even know who's running. They see the same names, they see these commercials, they see these ads, and that's how they choose on who they're going to vote for. And then all that stuff is paid for by, people like the lobbyists, like the pharmaceutical industry. And you can't say anything bad about them. If they just pay for you to get elected, they're going to be like, hey, I don't think that you would have made it if it wasn't for all the money we put in to support your campaign. So watch what you say, watch what you do. Make sure you don't sign any legislation that hurts our pocketbooks. Because if you do, next time we're going to fund the guy that you're running against. And we'll make sure he wins.
They do fund the other person too. That's the thing. Like, they give the money. Now, they might give a bigger bag to the Democrats, but they've given a bag to somebody on the other side that's going to, help out some kind of way.
Yeah, somebody that's going to play ball.
Yeah.
Let me play some of this. Oh, I got to take it back because I was watching this.
What's on your radar, Brianna?
Well, Robbie, Americans know they have some of the worst healthcare in the Western world. We pay twice as much for worse care. And while other countries guarantee that you can get medical treatment if you're sick, no matter how much you earn for a living or how rich your parents were, in America, whether you can get treatment depends on whether you can afford exorbitant prices for health insurance, or alternatively, whether you have a job that provides it. If you lose your job because you're sick, tough luck. If you miss a payment on your health insurance, oh well. All those years of paying don't count for anything if you stop, because we've decided to rely on a health insurance system rather than a health care system. It's so bad that that's not even really a partisan issue at this point. Sure, a whopping 88% of Democrats support Medicare for all, but nearly 50% of Republicans do too, bringing total American support to nearly 70%. In fact, reducing healthcare costs was the number 2 priority among Americans, according to a 2022 poll. And in 2020, every Democratic candidate had to at least pretend to support a substantial reform to the American healthcare system in order to compete with Bernie's compelling message for Medicare for all.
Man. Whatever happened to that? And they were so sensitive, or not sensitive, they were so sympathetic to Medicare for all a few years ago. And now the whole conversation is not even happening. And it really freaking drives me crazy and boggles my mind. We just went through a pandemic and it exposed all the holes in our system. It really did. And we're not talking about that. We're not talking about it. So it's like next time we have an issue like this, we're just going to go through it the same way. That shows the power of the lobbyists. That shows the power of the pharmaceutical industrial complex. That we're just, we're no longer even talking about healthcare. All these people just died. And you can say what you want about the vaccine or not having the vaccine or whatever. Regardless of the situation, a lot of people died. And even when, it was people that couldn't go to the doctor because of the whole COVID stuff. People passed away for regular ass stuff because they couldn't get service because of all of the COVID stuff going on. And we should be screaming, this should be the number one thing. Let's fix our healthcare system so that people aren't dying left and right, or having to sell their house so that they can freaking get some kind of medical care. And we're not talking about this. They're just communism. That's the argument. I want to read a little bit of this because they got this on the screen. Intelligencer, New York Intelligencer. Kamala Harris didn't just flip-flop on Medicare for all. It says Kamala Harris is no far-left gadfly. In her long tenure as California prosecutor, Harris routinely mocked the naivete of progressive activists whose antipathy for incarceration supposedly made them complacent about violent crime. She entered the Senate with strong support from California's Democratic establishment and entered the 2020 presidential race with the backing of many big-dollar Clinton donors. Few would call Harris a moderate, but few would call her a progressive darling either. In fact, in a recent interview, Hillary Clinton suggested that the left was Hillary's adversary, just like Biden. And it says, and yet, on Monday night, Harris went on national television and called for the abolition of private insurance industry. Really? The fact that Harris has co-sponsored more incremental health care bills in neither news nor indicative of a lack of commitment to single payer. Bernie Sanders has also signed onto such bills as over the past 2 years. It is possible that her advisor's decision to mention such bills in this context is a leading indicator of some future act of triangulation on Harris's part. Hold on, I can't see. But the interpretation is supported less by Sam's actual quote than by CNN's framing of it. As the furor grew, and without access to the text of questions Sams were responding to, it's impossible to assess whether they're anything remotely telling about advisors' reference to incremental bills. So incremental change is always the thing. And, the Democrats are always like, hey, we can't go too far left. We got to stay in the center and kind of work with the Republicans and do like a incremental change thing. We can't just rehaul our medical system That will be crazy. And that will be hard on the economy. And then all of these companies gonna lose money and maybe go out of business. And the United States will just completely fall apart. So we got to do these incremental change things and hopefully get to the point where things are better for the American people at some point in the future. Which basically is like doing nothing. It basically is supporting the status quo, basically is supporting what things are going to continue to be the same. Long as these, like we said earlier about the damn pharmaceutical companies who rely on the American people's taxpayers to flip the bill on their research and development, and they get to spend all their money on advertisement, and they also get to privatize the profits of all that research and development. They come up with some cool drug that actually works for the people after the people flip the bill on the research and development, and now a private person gets to make all the profits from it. And then they turn around and just charge the damn American people with, absorbent fees, like way overpriced stuff. That's insane to me. Everybody should be angry. Everyone should be upset when they pay their medical bills, when they look at their insurance costs, when they deal with this damn bureaucracy where the damn insurance company is fighting with your doctor and telling them, no, you can't do that procedure for them. We're not going to pay. The damn insurance goblin. You still there, Pat? Remember I can't play this, but that video from, what was it? I want to say Wisecrack. What is the channel? Where they were talking about the insurance goblin. You got to feed the insurance goblin. He's the one that decides on, what care you get and what care you don't get or whatever, and how much it's going to cost. And then they talk about how the hospitals double the price, but then they tell the insurance companies, hey, you only have to pay half of that. And the insurance company is like, okay, that's cool. I'm cool with that. I got a deal. Meanwhile, the damn American people were the one that flipped the bill. Insane. Why can't it be if we the ones, anybody who made an investment on anything is going to be expecting a return on that investment? Like sometimes it falls through, but if they invest it in, like, let's say in the research and development of a drug, and then it comes out that drug actually works and people actually want it and it's going to be beneficial and it's going to make money. How come we as the American people, the taxpayers, can't get anything in return for that? Maybe you don't have to give us money or send us dividends, which I think we should get. If we did research, we paid for the research and development for the damn drug, and now it goes online and they're selling it and they're making money. Send dividends and split it up between all of us who fucking paid into the system. Okay, well, you don't have to go that far, but at least you can cut the fucking price for us so we don't have to pay arm and a leg and put our house up for fucking sale so that we can fucking cover our healthcare bills when we were the ones who paid the fucking amount that it costs to fucking do all the research and development to create the damn drug in the freaking fucking first place. Am I crazy?
Yet despite the intense public interest in healthcare reform, the spotlight the pandemic put on the vulnerabilities in our healthcare system and the fact that 15 million Americans are about to lose their healthcare as the COVID health emergency ends in April, still don't hear much about it. That last bit is probably news to you. Yes, when the Biden administration ends the COVID-19 public health emergency later this year, likely in April or July, Medicaid will be terminating families' health care for the first time since February 2020, according to a report in Newsweek. Why? Well, the Trump administration empowered Health and Human Services to use its emergency powers to support overwhelmed hospitals, make vaccines more accessible, and keep millions of Americans enrolled in public health insurance. Up to 15 million people will be disenrolled from Medicare and CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program, when the emergency status ends. Medicaid and CHIP enrollment were up 26% during the pandemic, supporting 89 million people as of last June, according to the government. Because Congress blocked states from kicking the needy off their programs, as long as the public health emergency persisted. But even if you believe the pandemic is over, what's not over is the public health crisis that predated the pandemic. Are we really just going to go back to letting 68,000 people die every year simply because they're too poor to live? Now, Joe Biden was always the most conservative Democrat in the 2020 pool, but even he had to offer some healthcare solutions. Biden campaigned on a public option, insisting that we needed to build on Obamacare rather than scrapping that deeply flawed half measure and simply moving away from an insurance-based system that confers so much profit on corporate middlemen, the insurance industry and the pharmaceutical industry. Under a public option plan, Americans could buy a Medicare-like insurance program at a competitive price, basically state-run insurance that's cheaper than private insurance because the government isn't ostensibly seeking to turn a profit. A public option plan was ditched by Obama in 2009, 2010, after the health insurance industry lobbied hard to scrap it. And perhaps unsurprisingly, Joe Biden, who took more money from the health insurance industry than any other person in the Democratic primary, seems not to have mentioned the public option since he was sworn into office.
This guy, you know? And so when Bernie Sanders almost made it for president, and he really put that Medicare for All thing in the forefront of, you know, the discourse or the discussion, you know, that has completely freaking gone away. They're not talking about this no more. They're not talking about nothing related to it. They're not talking about public option. They're not talking about nothing. They're not even talking about, you know, trying to buy the drugs in bulk so that the people don't have to pay so much for these drugs, which they do in other countries all over the freaking world. But not here. It's because the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical companies are making so much money, and then they lobby. So then they gave Biden, like she just said, he received more money than anybody else from the pharmaceutical industry. So of course he's not going to come out there and say, oh yeah, we need like Medicare for all or something like that, or some kind of public option or whatever the hell. The pharmaceutical companies, the insurance companies don't want that. And they paid for him to, you know, basically get elected. So, you know, those are the people who put him in. He can't go back on that. Let me so it say lying Biden. And let me read a little bit of this. It says, where did the public option go? It says, President Joe Biden has not once since his inauguration mentioned the public health insurance option. He and every single competitive Senate Democrat challenger promised voters during the 2022 election. So when they were running, they were talking about this, and that's how they got their votes. That's part of how he got in. And so, but once he got in there, it's like, he's not even talking about this shit. Let me read some more. It says, the idea of creating a government-run health insurance plan that people could buy into has completely disappeared from the political conversation in Washington. Instead, Democrats have opted to deliver tens of billions of dollars of new government subsidies demanded by private health insurers that have funneled millions of dollars into Democratic campaign coffers. In the last spending bill, Democrats once again chose to give $42 billion in additional subsidies to private health insurers to help steer people into plans that feature high out-of-pocket costs and routine claim denials, and those insurers continue to raise premiums. So, all this money. So, you know, it said in the latest spending bill, Democrats once again chose to give $42 billion in additional subsidies. It said additional subsidies. So that means they're already giving them subsidies. And I'm gonna be talking about this with all these damn major corporations. It's socialism for the freaking corporations and rugged capitalism for the rest of us. So it's like so crazy. These people can't even have the money to freaking keep their company going, or these people don't even have the money to do the research and development. They got to get it from the government to do that shit. Meanwhile, they own the private patents as a result of this shit. And then they get to charge you crazy fees so they can make as much profit as they can and take care of their shareholders and CEOs, and they could do more stock buybacks. And then they say the economy is doing great. The economy is great. The CEOs is making lots of money. They get to do stock buybacks. The freaking GDP is up. There's more jobs. Meanwhile, the rest these jobs that they're talking about, the GDP that they're talking about, is the goddamn freaking prices that they're charging your ass to freaking stay alive. Is this not insanity? Oh my God.
It's important to drive home the following point. Politics, the red, blue, D versus R of it all, are a distraction from the real battle, which is in fact top down, corporations versus the people. And the outcome of elections is better predicted by lobbyists than by polls assessing the people's priorities. When an industry can't afford for a candidate to win, they simply pay enough money to make sure the candidate loses. There's no clear illustration of this as we pivot to the 2024 primary season than concerns from private industry about a possible Democratic candidate who might be less eager to appease the big insurance industry than Joe Biden. Let's take a listen.
Will President Biden run or not run? I think we're all waiting to hear his decision. If he decides not to run, we know what we're going to get with the Biden administration, right? We know what we've gotten so far. If he decides not to run and it's opened up and there's a primary, you have Democrats that have a tendency to be a little more liberal and more left-leaning and introduce things around Medicare for all, if you remember with Bernie or with Elizabeth.
Who the hell would... I think it's a great idea that Biden doesn't run. I would love to see a primary, but who the hell would it be that she's talking about they're going to be left-leaning and they're going to bring in, ideas of Medicare for all or whatever? I don't see Biden running again. I think his time has passed. He's too old now. I really just don't see it happening. So, but what other name can you put up there that could possibly freaking actually win that's going to do this? Anyone that's going to win is going to be another Biden type. It's going to be another Clinton type. It's going to be like Jeffries or somebody like that. Somebody said in the other show, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, I don't see, she's older now too. I think she's ready to get out of the game. She got rich as hell. She good. She ready to freaking wear her designer gear and I don't know what she likes to do for fun. Do that. I don't know. Golfing, fishing. I don't know what she does. But, I think that's where she's at in her life right now. So, I mean, what name can you say? AOC? I don't know. There's nobody out there that's going to actually win, that's going to actually go in that direction related to what Bernie was on. And for them to get like I said before, for them to get the funding to actually win, it costs so much. Y'all know that these damn elections are costing more and more and more each cycle. They break records each cycle now on how much they spend. Even the smaller races now are spending a shit ton of money. And the people who spend the most money are the ones who win. As simple as that. If you don't have the ads, if you don't have those TV ads, if you don't have those radio ads, if you don't have those billboards, you're not going to win. So the pharmaceutical companies, the insurance companies, they know this. They're going to put the money in there. They're going to push the guy that they know that's going to continue the status quo. Things are not going to change.
With Warren in the past. And so, I think for an investor, it's the headline risk, right? I mean, even if we go back and we look at what happened with the Affordable Care Act, not nearly as bad as people had anticipated. But again,
Elizabeth Warren, did she just say her name? But anyways, I don't know if she said her name, but that name popped into my mind too. I mean, that could be a name, but she's another one that takes huge amounts of money from freaking these same lobbies, Sometimes I like Elizabeth Warren and some of the stuff that she says, but it's just like that with the Democrats. I liked a lot of what Obama said when he went in it. But what did he do when he got in there? He didn't do anything, not for the people. He took care of the banks. He took care of the auto industry, and he got richer.
that's once we get to the details. The headlines are generally what cause managed care to trade off. So until we know the public policy of how that individual's thinking, it's hard to make a determination. And as you know, investors sell first and ask questions later.
Do you hear that? Her saying the Affordable Care Act wasn't as bad as they anticipated. That's JP Morgan's head of healthcare services, basically admitting that her organization is rooting against pro-Medicare for all candidates. To be clear, the bank is likely to do more than simply root against a potential Democratic Party challenger to Biden. They'll put their thumb on the scale to the tune of millions of dollars. The insurance industry gave Joe Biden over $8.5 million in 2020, and they gave over $6.5 to Trump, ensuring that whomever won, Americans who want and need health care reform won't get it. JP Morgan.
And that's a really good highlight because we're beating up on the Democrats right now. But I say, like I say all the time, good cop, bad cop, two wings of the same bird, and then these corporations are really the ones who's running the show. So they're going to get their guy regardless. So, whoever wins is going to be in my pocket. That's our guy. The top two or the top three or the top four prospects for these positions are going to be our guy, basically. So, the ones that aren't our guy, we're not going to give them any money. They're going to have to focus on grassroots organizing. They're going to have to focus on grassroots contributions. And these people are regular folks, working folks. They $20, $100, $200, maybe $2,000 a piece. That's not going to add up to the amount that these companies are willing or able to pay. And that because of our system. Our system is all about capital, and people love capitalism. Capitalism is whoever has the most money is the ones who call the shots. The people who has the most money are the people who have done things to screw over their people, like they're not paying their employees enough. They're cutting corners. They do stock buybacks. They have all of this capital. The capital rules. The capital wins.
Morgan donated nearly $400,000 to Biden's campaign, and JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon's wife even contributed $52,800 to those campaign efforts. They're not donating to save democracy. They're donating to ensure that the deeply unequal system they've benefited from doesn't shift at all in your favor, despite the lies politicians in both parties tell you to get you to the polls. Now, what do we do about it? There was once a time when Republicans like John McCain were very serious about campaign finance reform. Unfortunately, those days are largely behind us. Last September, Senate Republicans blocked a bill that required disclosure of dark money donors. And Democrats used Republicans' refusal to reform the system as an excuse not to clean their own house, saying they won't unilaterally disarm. But things might be changing, according to Open Secrets researcher Carl Evers Hillstrom. 2020 was the first election since Citizens United that liberal, non-party outside groups outspent their conservative counterparts, meaning that dark money can no longer be presumed to advantage Republicans over Democrats. Concerns about the influence of Silicon Valley money in particular, with its left-leaning bias, has also generated some skepticism about dark money among some Republicans. For example, prior to midterm, Pennsylvania senatorial candidate Doug Mastriano, who was overwhelmingly outspent by his Democratic opponent, introduced a resolution to regulate election spending. But without much wider buy-in, the path to a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United is acutely uphill, even though 66% of Republicans support it, according to a 2018 poll by the Center for Public Integrity.
So it's like a corporation is a person. So that's what she's talking about. So it's like the way the thing works is like, a corporation is a person, so they can donate to campaigns just like regular folks do, except just like what I said before, the corporation is the one that has all the capital. The regular folks do not. So, campaign finance reform, I think that, if we really want to fix this, if we really want to have people that represent the people, these people need to be funded by the people. And the only way you could do that is force these corporations to not be able to donate to campaigns, period. Screw that. Put a cap on the amount that anyone can donate to a campaign, and make it so worse that if someone is going to win, then they have to win off of the money that they're getting from regular folks. And if that happens, then you're more likely to get people who are looking out for the people, because they're going to feel like, just like the same thing with these politicians that make it, they feel obligated to these corporations who gave them all the money that allowed them to get elected. Then the person that they got most of their money from regular folks, they're going to feel obligated to those people, and they're going to want to look out for those people, because those are the ones who got them elected, not the big ass corporations. But the way it's set up now is like the people can't give. We can't compete with big pharma. We can't compete with the military industrial complex. You know what I'm saying? We can't compete with Walmart. You know, we can't compete with these big corporations. We don't have the capital. So, you know, they need a bunch of money to get elected. The people can't flip the bill on that. Then they go and they have these meetings with these people. They do speeches. They give them a whole bunch of money. They tell them what they want to hear. They do the same thing to the corporations as they do the people, I ain't gonna lie. But at the end of the day, the corporations are the ones that's gonna hold them accountable. Because like I say, if they don't do what they said they're gonna do, then they're gonna say, well, boom, you know, we got a whole bunch of money. We'll just flood your competitor, and we'll make sure he gets in there if you don't do what we say.
An August CBS poll said that 86% of all voters thought the influence of money in politics was a top threat to democracy, higher even than political violence or attempts to overturn elections.
Definitely.
Sorry, 1-6 committee. Republican legislators are widely out of step with their voters. But without Democrats leading more vocally on this issue, it's almost certain they'll pay no political penalty for that reality. Representative Jason Crow introduced an End to Dark Money Act on Monday. That's something to watch. And I'm sure Senator Sheldon Whitehouse will continue to reintroduce the Disclose Act, which claims to close loopholes that allow dark money to flood U.S. elections. He introduces it periodically over the last 10 years. Unfortunately, I'm also sure that corrupt politicians will continue to vote it down. The 20 Republican holdouts from last week's Force the Vote moment won the right to keep Kevin McCarthy's super PAC out of Republican primary races, a significant win that progressives who have been targeted by Hakeem Jeffries' super PAC should envy. But this is really one of those issues where as long as voters are willing to vote for politicians because, let's say, they say the right thing about wokeness in one direction or the other, or they signal on some other cultural issue, there won't be any accountability for politicians who still enthusiastically suckle at the teat of dark money and do the substantive bidding of corporations.
And we don't know where a lot of that money is coming from. And then you have, like Pat was saying earlier, they just fund both sides. And then it's like dark money. When they say dark money, that means, you know, we don't know where it's coming from, you know, how much was given from who or whatever. And, you know, earlier, what was the guy? The FTX guy. Remember the FTX scandal? And then it came out that the FTX gave a lot of money to Democrats. But there's a story where they was explaining that FTX also gave a bunch of money to Republicans, but the money that they gave to the Democrats were public because they were like, it's okay or whatever. The people won't be mad about that. So, but the money that they gave to the Republicans, they did through dark channels. So you can't really see where it's coming from that they actually gave money to the Republicans because they felt like the people would be outraged or be mad or whatever. They're going to say something about it. It's like, it's totally okay for us to send money to the Democrats, so we'll do that publicly. But the money that we send to the Republicans, we're going to do that in a dark way so that they can't see that, you know, that we funded them also. The FTX gave a lot of money to the Republicans and the Democrats.
And I regret to inform you, no matter how strong the polls look in favor of healthcare reform, no matter how many millions of Americans are kicked off of their healthcare as COVID ends, nothing will change unless voters have higher standards for who they'll actually vote for. That's the grim truth. So yeah, I was struck, as I often am, by the unified point of view across partisan camps. Of course, it's more Democrats than Republicans, but the fact that you have these overwhelming majorities, especially in the realm of campaign finance reform, and you don't see much in the way of campaign finance reform, something's got to break. Democrats have got to stop falling in line and voting for Democrats. Republicans have got to stop falling in line and voting for these candidates unless they actually put their money where their mouth is and plan to do something about this really fundamental issue that's keeping the huge gap between what Americans want and what Congress will do so wide.
Yeah, as you said, at the end of your radar, I mean, it's ultimately up to the voters. No amount of cash can make a voter vote for someone else. And if this is what is important to voters, they need to reward candidates that have pledges not to take certain categories of money, because legislatively, this is not going away. I mean, Citizens United is a Supreme Court decision. I think you probably disagree. I think there are sound free speech, First Amendment reasons. That's ultimately what the Supreme Court concluded with the ACLU's agreement, that you do that money is speech, and you have the right to spend money on candidates, and you have the right to organize in a corporation and spend money. That's what the Supreme Court has decided. It would take a constitutional amendment to undo that, or significant changeover at this, like a really significant changeover. So that's not going to happen.
I mean, it could. Mind you, most Republicans want that to happen. So that's this weird place that we're in. But I agree that it's unlikely politically.
It depends how you ask these questions, and that's true of the Medicare for All as well. But
it's true of every question in the world.
Well, yeah, but if you say, look, the fundamental issue was, could a documentary filmmaker run a film that was critical of Hillary Clinton in some critical pre-election time period, which is that's what Citizens United is. You're going to have 95% of Republicans, if you explain to them that was the issue at stake, say, no, that was correctly decided. In fact, you're probably going to have a lot of Democrats say that issue was correctly decided.
Right, but of course, that's not really the question that's at issue. When people are asked if they think the influence of dark money in politics is particularly pernicious, it is, what did I say, the number 2 issue among voters in America. So something has to be done. I think there's an awareness of how this is negatively affecting politics. To me, I think the central question is, given people have these diffuse priorities, and given that even though we say something like healthcare, education is ranked higher, often when people go to the polls, they're voting on these other kinds of issues. And I think Republicans in particular are very adept at exploiting certain other more timely, punchy cultural issues to push one way.
Well, often they're voting at the polls. We're often voting for candidates and all their faulty promises and all their,
But those promises have to do with a lot of these kinds of issues. We just saw Ron DeSantis talk about wokeness and in military spending. What was it? All of these kinds of things get shoehorned together. All I'm saying is, if we don't really vote clearly, really rank our priorities and clearly make electoral decisions based on what is actually our biggest priority instead of what the punchiest, most angry-making thing on the headlines is, this kind of thing is going to continue.
And I don't think it even fucking matters at all, because whoever spends the most money is what the people are going to see, because they don't even know who's running. If you don't have the money, you're not even going to be on the radar of a lot of these people. And then, they can lie too. Like, I want to go into Santos next, because, Santos lied left and freaking right, but I'm sure that the most of the voters didn't know one way or the other. They just heard whatever they heard on the freaking commercials that they saw. That's it. So it's the money that they spent is to even get their name out there, to even have a chance of fucking winning. They're not gonna win if people don't even know that they're there. So, but yes, after they know that they're there, then they use these like cultural things to grab their attention or whatever, to try to get them to vote for them. But again, they don't even know who is out there, because if they don't have the money, then the people aren't gonna know. So, and Santos is in there, and he'll be in there for another 2 years. They were asking him, "Are you gonna resign?" He's like, "No, I'm not gonna resign." It's like, bam, but you lied about everything. But then it's like, the people don't know that, and they don't really care. They saw the damn commercials, and plus the thing with the R and the D, they're like, he's a Republican. He says some things I like. I don't care about all the lies. Yeah, and most people don't even know. Let me read some comments. It says, after 50 years of Biden, I can't figure out how anybody thinks Biden is out for anybody but himself. Another comment, it says, unfortunately, feeding our military corporations takes precedence over providing universal health care. Tragic and sad. Another comment, it says, dear Lord, no, he should not run again. He shouldn't even entertain the idea of 8 years of this. We might get 8 years of Biden. We just might. Let me read another one. It says, I agree. I'm a physician and I am stunned about the difficulty that people have. The healthcare companies make record profits from the beginning up to now. It's disgusting, but people, both the Democrats and Republicans, benefit from this. They do. They're getting their pockets lined. Another comment, it says, imagine how much money businesses would save not having to provide health insurance for their employees. I'm surprised most businesses aren't pushing for a single payer system. That's really interesting comment right there. That's really interesting, because especially some of the smaller businesses have real issues related to healthcare, because if you have over a certain number of employees, then you have to go through this system where you provide healthcare for your people that work for you. And I really wonder why the businesses aren't more, especially the small, like I understand why the big companies don't, but the smaller ones, the medium-sized businesses, why aren't they pushing to help make like a single payer system, some kind of government run health care, so where they don't have to flip the bill on that? That's interesting right there. I wonder why. I guess the communism, socialism fucking argument is what keeps them off of that. Another comment, it says, The Hill has become one of my chief news sources. Intelligent people discussing issues without shouting at each other. Who would have thought it was possible? Keep up the good work. I like this channel. The Hill is not nearly as good as it was before, when you had freaking Sager and Crystal Ball on there, but they're doing their own thing now. So yeah. Anyways. Timestamp 0.37 seconds. Because we've decided to rely on health insurance system rather than a healthcare system. Spot on, Brianna. Yeah. Health insurance system rather than a health care system, because we don't have a health care system. We don't have a preventative system. We don't have a system that, like, your doctor's not telling you to go eat better and exercise. Instead, they're saying, hey, I got this drug for you. Don't worry about exercising or eating different. I got this drug. Just pay for it. Buy it for the rest of your freaking life. Because a lot of these drugs, once you take them, once you start them, you cannot get off of them until the end of your day. Because a lot of these drugs, the ones that are like heart drugs and these blood pressure pills, oh, it's so fucking horrible. If you stop taking them, you die. So they know they got you forever. They know you're going to pay this. You have to pay it or you will die. It's like that with the cancer drugs. And we were talking about the Alzheimer's drugs earlier. It's like pay for it or die. Okay, it's $26,000 a year. I don't really have that. Well, I'll just sell my house. I'll sell my car. I'll work 3 jobs. I have to, or otherwise I will die. That's evil. Let me read another comment. It says, Brianna, rather than exhorting the public to take to the streets, is this ever-deepening oligarchy is doing her darndest to persuade us that voting is better. Voting for better representatives will make all the difference. A lie as big as any with a deep and rich record to prove, to say nothing of age-old pithy wisdom. If voting made a difference, they wouldn't let us do it. A quote concerning the irrelevancy of voting is often attributed to the American humorist Mark Twain. Oh my God, bro. And I'm so into politics, and I'll be like voting. And I tend to still vote for like the local type elections, because I think that those are really important. And I think that you should focus on like the bonds and stuff and the ballot measures and stuff that they do wherever you are locally, because they do really matter to your local politics. I think that's important. But at the end of the day, I feel like voting is pretty damn. I was thinking about going into politics. I was thinking about going to law school and becoming like a politician. But the more I learn about it, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna be selling people the same bullshit that everybody else is selling. Like, oh, vote for the D or vote for the R, and it's gonna change your life. Meanwhile, it just continues the status quo. I really just want to burn the whole fucking system down. I swear to God, I'm a damn anarchist. It's all bullshit. No, I'm sorry. For the most part, especially on the like executive level, the presidential level, the voting is not stir fry shit or bake shit. You still getting fucked at the end of the day. It's so sad. What do? I don't know. It's hopeless. Like I said, like the name of the show today is At War with Ignorance. And I was saying like having a war with ignorance is really freaking hopeless. It's really hopeless. How are you going to have a war with ignorance? It's kind of like what they do when they be like war on poverty or war on drugs. Bullshit. The war on drugs, the drugs won and continue to win and going to continue to win. And it's kind of like the whole thing with the Ukraine war. It's like they want it to continue forever. Like, no, it's all about making money. They're just selling you some bullshit. Hurts my heart. That's why I got heart problems to this freaking day and high blood pressure, and I try not to care. Give me some pills. Give me some Xanax or something. Give me something where I don't care so much, but I can't help but to care. I could be on the drugs and still fucking care. Oh my God. I wish that people could just come together and help each other. I agree with the conservatives and the Republicans when they say they don't like big government. It's like, let them do as little as possible. Because really us organizing community on a community level is going to have way more impact on our life than whatever the hell the federal government is doing. Now, as far as the funds, that's important because we're paying the taxes anyway. We have to pay them. Some of that fucking money should trickle down and go to local shit and actually help people. But hey, it doesn't. So just pay the taxes and then focus on freaking working on your community and trying to help locally. Like someone said, think globally, but act locally. That's the answer. Screw the damn government, whatever they're doing, whoever's the president, whatever the freak, whoever's in the Congress, whoever's the House majority leader, whoever's the House minority leader, which party is in power. Screw all of that. Just focus on your local stuff. Community centers, food banks, clothing drives, helping the homeless, providing housing for the homeless. If you could just do it a little bit, and if everybody does a little bit, I wish that we could all just come together and be like, but they got us stuck on this hamster wheel and we're just running, trying to pay our damn bills. How the hell can we help anybody when we're living check the damn check? The damn bills, and that's the squeeze. The damn bills are going up, rent is going up, your mortgage is going up, gas prices. You have to work all the damn time. You don't have no fucking time to freaking actually help anybody, and that's how they want it. So, but if you could get into the position where you're good, then at that point, then hopefully you can like organize some people to get together and help your community. Help your apartment complex. Like I say, I think that we could buy the damn apartments. You live in an apartment. If you could organize all of the people or a good number of the tenants, putting money to the side or whatever, buy the damn apartments and then decide on what y'all decide together on what the rent is. A fair amount. Nope. You don't have time to even think about that. You're not even aware of what's going on in the world. Not even aware of what's happening. You're not even aware how you're getting squeezed and screwed over. Like, one of the things that's bothering me right now in the apartments that I live in right now, I keep freaking having a problem finding somewhere to park. Oh my freaking God. I'm parked outside of the fence right now. I had to walk around the whole damn apartments with some groceries. I stopped at HEB on my way home today. I had to walk around the damn apartments and go through the damn gate and then hit the code and walk around the damn pool and all of this shit to get to my damn apartment because there's no fucking where to park because they got all these reserved spots that nobody is freaking parking in. They're empty. And like we get the sticker to have parking, but I don't know. They got all these reserved spots. They're taking up all the spots. Oh, I come home from work. I get off not even that damn late. I get here about 10:30 and there's nowhere to freaking park. I park across the street last week at Walgreens because it's freaking closer, and they told my damn car $260. This is the damn squeeze. They're like, oh, just buy you a house. You have your house. You can pull into the house. You pull into your parking lot. You pull into your garage. You won't have that problem. Hey, but I got to put a down payment. Hey, I'm not a freaking loser. I had a house before. I lost it. Remember the 2008 housing crisis? I lost my house in that. Oh, cry a river. Let me read some more comments. It says, great commentary, Brianna. We can't expose these big money rats enough. Thank you. Another comment that says, if you're surprised, you're not paying attention. Please pay attention. That's the reason why I do this show. Hopefully you guys can freaking understand things a little bit better. I know it's freaking like class and it's like boring sometimes and dry or whatever, but scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on Instagram for a 15, 13, 10, 5-second clip to just entertain you for 5 minutes or 30 seconds or whatever is not going to change anything or help your situation. The status quo continues. They want you to be distracted. They think you're stupid. They think you're dumb. And it's like, I was talking to somebody at work today and they was like, oh, damn, I can't remember what they said, but I said, they want you to be stupid. They think you're stupid and they treat you like you're stupid. And then she's like, well, I think that a lot of stuff is going on that we don't know about. And I'm like, that's kind of true, but the way they move, they follow the rules. They have certain laws that they follow. They have to rule by consent. So rule by consent means that you have to go with this shit. And what do they silent occlusion? What does it mean? I'm crazy. I'm all over the place right now. But when you don't say anything, that means that you're obliging. So it's like I say, they do tell you actually. It's just that you have to dig. They'll tell it to you and they'll put it right in your face, but you don't even hear it and you don't understand it or you don't have time. You're on your hamster wheel. Or they're speaking these legalese that you don't really understand. You got to go to law school to freaking understand what they're saying, even though they're speaking the same damn language, but it's worded in a way and arranged in a way that makes it difficult for you to understand. And that's why me and Pat always talk about, the actual meanings of the words, and looking up, the definition of these words and where they came from, the root of the words, what languages it originally came from, so that you could really understand the language, the words, and what they really mean, so that you can understand what they're saying to you, because they speak this legalese and they're telling you what they're doing, and you're giving them consent, but you don't even understand. It's like when you're in court and they're saying all this stuff, they're speaking English, and you speak English, but you don't even understand what they're saying. They rule by consent. They're going to tell you exactly what they're doing, and they're going to do it to you, and you're just going to take it because you don't even get it. Let me read some more. It says, South Korea, with the lowest cost per capita for healthcare, also has one of the best healthcare systems in the world. Now, this is a thing, because it's a lot of countries around the world they call communist, or they call this, or they call that, or they push sanctions on, like Cuba, Venezuela, other countries, like what they did to Gaddafi. A lot of these countries around the world, UK, they have healthcare. Germany, they have healthcare. But they say no, it can't work here. It's communism. You don't want to be waiting in lines forever for your procedures, and talking about the private industry, does a better job. And then they're like, the government can't do anything properly, so we got to rely on the private sector. They're going to do a better job. Bullshit. It's all about you paying more money. And then, so what happens is you want to be rich, right? You want to hoard money, because if you hoard money and you have a whole bunch of money, then you can afford to pay for the best health care. It costs you $52,000 for your pharmaceuticals that you need. Well, then shit, you need to make $100,000 a year, $200,000, $500,000, $1 million a year, so that you could pay that $52,000 and pay your premiums and pay your co-pays and stuff, so that you can get taken care of properly. So then there goes back to the hierarchy, the class system. If you can't afford it, then you don't deserve it. So then just die. That's just what it is. I mean, you have cancer now, it costs a lot, you need to make more money, or you can't pay for your cancer, or, you just die. Oh, well. So, that's the class system. So the people that are rich, super wealthy, they're, maybe they're not okay with the system, but they have the money to pay for it. So they're like, okay, whatever, just pay, but for the rest of us who don't have that $52,000 a year to pay for our prescriptions that keep us alive, then, hey, you die. Go live under a bridge or something. Go die. We need less people around anyways. Too many people around here. Let me read another comment. It says, my problem with this segment is the title. For Joe Biden to abandon the poor, he would have to have been with them in the first place. He never was. Good comment. Another one, it says, worthwhile, important topic. Thanks, Brianna. I absolutely love when you tackle tough topics with journalists won't. What to do? I don't hold any hope for Biden to come up with a solution. Also, Big Pharma gouges Medicare with prices higher in the U.S. than elsewhere. That to say, we have layers of problems and crookedness. It's so corrupt. It's so horrible. Everyone should be angry. I don't care how much you make. If it costs them like 5 cents to make this insulin, and you have to pay, I don't know, $3,000 for it, I don't care how much you make. Guess what? You just got fucking ripped off. You just got ripped off. Okay? That should make you angry. And it's a lot of the drugs that are like that. Look at your hospital bills whenever you go to the doctor, and actually look at the itemized. Ask them for the itemized and look at it. How much does it cost for a Band-Aid or some Band-Aids or a bandage that they put on you? You could have went to Walgreens and bought the same bandage, but at the hospital it's going to cost you like $300 or some shit. You know that the what do they call it? It's saline. The saline that they put in your IV, sometimes it's just to freaking like hydrate you, whatever. Pretty much all the time you go to the doctor, if it's something halfway serious, they're going to give you some saline. Go look at the itemized and see how much they charge you for each one of those saline bags. It's like fucking sugar water or salt water, whatever the hell you could pretty much make that yourself. And that costs like nothing. And then, but they charge you an arm and a freaking leg for that. Now, why? You just got ripped off. You just got ripped off for some damn sugar water, man. You just paid $500 for a bag of sugar water. You got ripped off. You should be angry. I don't care how much you make. Anyways, I want to talk about Santos. Do I have a video on it? All the lying that he did, and he's in there now. He's in there for another 2 years, and they're like, well, I'm not going to retire. Y'all can try to vote me out in 2 years. But like I say, people are going to forget after 2 years. Then he's going to have that R next to his name. It ain't even going to matter. He's going to be the incumbent. Most likely he'll win again. Let me see. We got Russell Brand talking about BlackRock related to rebuilding Ukraine. That's kind of interesting. I might play the Democracy Now! Top headlines because I think they talked about Santos in that. I don't see a freaking video on it. Thought I had something on that. I don't see it. Let's go into Democracy Now!
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Russia's defense ministry has appointed a new commander to lead its forces in Ukraine in the latest shakeup of Russia's military command structure in the wake of devastating battlefield losses. Russian Army General Valery Gerasimov replaces Sergei Surovkin, who will be demoted after just 3 months as commander. Gerasimov played key roles in Russia's seizure of Crimea from Ukraine in 2014 and helped lead Russian forces in Syria, supporting President Bashar al-Assad. Meanwhile, President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine denied claims that Russian forces led by Wagner Group mercenaries have seized control of the eastern city of Soledar, where Russia claimed...
Wait. Led by Wagner Group mercenaries. So that private contractors, probably from the United States, making a bunch of money. He said it's led by them. You know, there goes the private contractors making money. They don't care about the Ukrainian people. And I'm not a fan of Nazis, but I'm sure that all the Ukrainian people are not Nazis. But they don't care about the Ukrainian people. They continue to suffer. They want this war to go on forever, like Afghanistan. And so, because all of these Western countries, companies continue to make money. The people continue to die, and these Western companies continue to make money.
Claims to have killed about 500 Ukrainian soldiers. In Washington, D.C., protesters gathered outside the White House Wednesday to call on President Biden to close the prison at the U.S. Naval Base in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Demonstrators wore orange jumpsuits and black hoods over their heads, marking the 21st anniversary of the reopening of the notorious prison to house hundreds of Muslim men and boys who were captured overseas and handed over to the U.S. 35 men remain imprisoned at Guantanamo today. In an open letter to President Biden, the ACLU, the Center for Constitutional Rights, and over 150 other groups wrote, quote, "The Guantanamo detention facility was designed specifically to evade legal constraints, and Bush administration officials incubated torture there. Guantanamo continues to cause escalating and profound damage to the aging and increasingly ill men still detained indefinitely there, most without charge and none having received a fair trial."
Most without charge and none receiving a fair trial. So you can go there and just be sitting there and never been to court, never did anything wrong, just a regular Joe Blow. They've been talking about closing Guantanamo Bay forever. Didn't Obama say he was going to close Guantanamo Bay? How many years ago was that? I can't believe Guantanamo Bay is still open.
They wrote. In other news from the nation's capital, members of the group Code Pink disrupted a Brookings Institute defense policy talk with Congressmember Adam Smith Wednesday to call for a diplomatic end to the Ukraine war.
Democrats have to step forward, have to put the pressure on the Biden administration and say we need negotiations, not more war.
The real security, national security is addressing the climate crisis, getting people housed, and not focusing on weapons. We have $880 billion going to war. We need to social services.
I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of funny how they manhandled her out the door. Like, what are you talking about, bro? We're making money off of these damn. I was talking to somebody at work too about that too, because we were talking about Israel. It's a new chick at work, and she's from Palestine, and the thing is, we sell arms to Israel, again, like I say, it's all about money. So all the money going to war, da 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 da. They manhandled this chick out of the door. It's like $880 billion for war. Get this chick out of here. What is she talking about? Like, and then it's like common sense talking about diplomacy. It's like I said earlier, just a few minutes ago, like the Ukrainian people are dying. There's people dying. Like you could say that Russia is doing horrible things, whatever. You could say Ukrainians are doing horrible things, whatever. As a result, people are dying. Russian soldiers are dying. Ukrainian soldiers are dying. Innocent civilians in Ukraine are dying. But they're not talking about diplomacy. They're talking about this freaking war going on forever. They're talking about sending them more weapons. Do you think that the war would still be going if the United States wasn't sending billions of dollars to Ukraine year after year after year after year?
Hell no. It wouldn't be able to.
The war would probably be over if we wasn't sending them so much money. They're talking about defense. What are they talking about? The fucking missile defense systems, and then they're operating them, and then it's also used with like United States software. And then one of the stories they was talking about how I think it was Biden. I don't remember who said it, but they were saying that we don't give them the whole thing. Like we can't give them missile defense systems or missile systems that can go as far as to attack Russia directly, because that would be instigating the war or whatever. So we just kind of give them the limited versions of the systems so that they can just kind of defend Ukraine. So it's just kind of like I say, it's just to go on forever. Y'all keep asking us for more missiles and stuff. We got y'all. No problem. And then it's another clip I'm probably going to get to, but they're talking about Ukraine. Damn it, I lost my train of thought. I lost it. I lost it, but it's related to it continuing to go on. Why isn't Biden talking about peace talks? They haven't said that once. And then Zelensky is like, we're going to win this regardless. We're going to fight this forever. We're going to win. We're going to fight till we win. We don't care how long it takes. So, like, how come Biden isn't going over there and being like, hey, can we talk? Can we get Zelensky and Putin to talk so that hopefully we can just bring this to an end?
Alabama's Republican Attorney General said Wednesday pregnant people could be criminally prosecuted if they take medication to terminate a pregnancy. His comments came just days after the Food and Drug Administration announced retail and mail-order pharmacies can now sell the abortion pill mifepristone directly to patients with a prescription. Medication abortions account for more than half of all U.S. abortions. On Capitol Hill, the Republican-led House Wednesday approved legislation that would require reproductive care providers to work to preserve the life of the infant born after a failed attempt at an abortion, a situation that's exceedingly rare. House Republicans also approved a resolution condemning what they called attacks on anti-abortion groups and churches. Neither piece of legislation is expected to advance in the Democratic-controlled Senate.
I can't help but to think about bleeding cancers when we talk about this abortion topic, and then Civil War. And it's like, okay, you're talking crazy talk or whatever, but look at what's happened legislatively. And that's how it happened before. And then it's like, okay, so they can mail these abortion pills to a state that abortion is illegal. So one state is like, okay, we're cool with abortion. Another state is like, no abortion at all. But then it's like, okay, well, we can mail them pills that they can take to have abortions. So this is bringing up this tension between the states. Y'all follow me? It was another story. It was talking about this lady who her baby it has no skull, like the top of its skull. Y'all can look this up. The baby has the top of its skull is not there. So the baby is not going to make it once it is born. But this person who is pregnant lives in a state where abortion is illegal. So she's forced to carry this baby till it's born, knowing that the day it's born, it's going to die. So, like, I mean, they talk about suffering, they're talking about pain and all of this, but they don't really care because they're steadfast and black and white on the abortion issue in that particular state. So yeah, you got to carry this baby till it's born because you can't abort it, even though it's not really a viable pregnancy. And like I say, this is Bleeding Kansas. Bleeding Kansas was about the free states and the slave states. So what this subject is about, abortion or not, and the tensions between the states. So then you could say, okay, well, the federal government shouldn't be involved. This should be a state issue. Okay, and make it a state issue. That's fine. But then you got one state saying that it's illegal to have abortion. Another state is saying it's legal. And that state is saying that, boom, we can send them abortion pills. So there goes the tension.
Here in New York, dozens of Republican Party officials called publicly Wednesday for newly elected Congressmember George Santos to resign. Santos won November's election to represent New York's 3rd congressional district in Queens and Long Island after fabricating large portions of his resume and life history. This is Nassau County Republican Committee Chairman Joseph Cairo.
He has no place in the Nassau County Republican Committee, nor should he serve in public service, nor as an elected official. He's not welcome here at Republican headquarters for meetings or at any of our events. As I said, he's disgraced the House of Representatives, and we do not consider him one of our Congress people.
George.
I thought I had a video on this. I might look it up, but I'm not sure. But I really wanted to kind of talk about this because if you're a Republican, you should be mad at Santos, right? He got in, he's in the House of Representatives. He'll be there for 2 years, kind of regardless now. And then they're like, oh, the people have spoken, we don't want to disenfranchise these voters. But hey, the voters were misled. He told them fabrications. He fabricated his whole everything. So they voted on a fabrication. So that's fraud. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like the way the law is set up, the only way he could get out of there is if he actually resigned. Right. And he's like, no, I'm not going to resign. So, but if I was a Republican, I would be like, screw this dude. Let's find a way to get him the hell out of here because he is making us all look bad. Like, are we all liars? Did we all fabricate our, he's a part of our group. He has the big R next to his name and he lied about everything to get in there. And it's like, if I was a Republican, I'd be like, no, bro, like, screw that. He's not one of us. Like, we didn't lie about our shit. Like, we are who we said we are, Maybe we lied about what we were going to do or whatever. They say all politicians lie. Whatever. That's beside the point. This dude lied about his whole freaking who he was, his whole history. Some people say his name probably isn't even right. Even lied about his damn name. Like, if I'm a Republican, I'm like, I don't want this guy. I'm not going to sit next to this guy in the freaking hall or whatever, in the meetings or, in Congress and like, oh, he's one of us. He gets to vote with us and everything. Like, this guy is disrespecting the whole damn office by completely fabricating his whole everything to get in there. Like, that should be a deal. Like, I'm not a Republican, but the Republicans supposed to be standing for values, right? Truth, justice, working out for the people, being honest. That's what they're supposed to be standing for, whatever. Standing on your square. Well, this guy is not that. And he's, no, get him the hell out of here. Let's do a special election and get somebody else the hell in here. That's absolutely not going to happen. I don't think there's any precedent for that. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to be in there for his 2 years. And I also believe he's a good chance of him winning again because, like I say, after 2 years, everybody's going to forget about this.
George Santos has steadfastly refused to resign. He was confronted by reporters on Capitol Hill Wednesday.
Congressman Santos, will you resign? I will not. Will you step down? I will not.
Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on Wednesday rejected calls that he take action against Santos, saying voters would have another chance 2 years from now to elect a new representative.
America today, you're innocent until proven guilty. So just because somebody doesn't like the press you have, it's not me that can oversay what
the press. Just because people don't like the press that you have, okay, you calling it press. Okay, yeah, he is getting press, but the information has come out that all of that stuff is not true. Like the dude lied, crazy, ridiculous lies, fabricated his everything. Let's say you applied for a job. You applied for a job. You fabricated your whole damn resume. Like it's all like not true. You don't have the experience. Like I say, your name ain't even what it is. you know, all of that stuff is not true. If your employer found out that none of that stuff was true, then I think that they would terminate you. And if it came like, oh, it was in the news, so we're not going to go with it because it's the press. Oh, he's having bad press. That's not the focus. The focus is not the press. The focus is the fact, the reality, the truth that he is a liar. And he doesn't represent what he said he represented. He misrepresented himself to the voters. The voters thought he was this, and he is not. He lied. So that should disqualify him. And in any job, it could be a job picking up trash outside, not to belittle anybody's job. Your employee gonna say you lied. You no longer work here, bro. Go look for another job. Use some damn real credentials.
voters say. The voters are the power. The voters made the decision, and he has the right to serve. If there is something that rises to the occasion that he did something wrong, then we'll deal with that at that time.
He already did something wrong. He lied. So yeah, the voters have the power. I agree with that, McCarthy. I agree with that. They made their decision, but they made their decision based on lies. They were misled. Do you think that maybe those people would have voted for somebody else had they known that he wasn't being honest, that he completely fabricated his whole ass history?
House Speaker McCarthy also signaled Santos remains eligible to serve on House committees. His defense of Santos came after he confirmed that 3 prominent Democratic Congress members, Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, and Ilhan Omar, would be barred from serving on House committees.
So those people are barred from House committees, but this guy can get on the House committees, even though that's him right there in the middle with the glasses, looking like a douchebag in the picture, because he's clearly a freaking douchebag. Look at his tie. He didn't even bother to fucking tuck the little back part of the tie. If I go to work with my tie, I have to wear a tie to work. If I go to work with my little tie part hanging out like somebody's gonna say something to me. Fucking douchebag. I don't like this guy at all.
Congresswoman Omar said she believes McCarthy singled her out over her religious faith, telling HuffPost, quote, "I do not actually think that he has a reason outside of me being Muslim and thinking I should not be," she said. Illinois Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker signed legislation this week banning military-style assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Pritzker said on Twitter, quote, "I'm tired of living in a world where a mass shooting needs a title so you know which one we're referring to." The White House welcomed the news Wednesday.
The president continues to urge other states to join California, New Jersey, Connecticut, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, New York, Delaware, Washington, D.C., and now Illinois to ban assault weapons at the state level to save lives.
They've been saying that stuff forever. I gotta say, old girl's so cute to me.
Another win for gun control advocates. The U.S. Supreme Court left in place
She has a
for
hard
now a
job.
New York law that restricts guns in many public places. The law was enacted following a June Supreme Court ruling that struck down a New York law limiting the carrying of concealed handguns outside the home. In Afghanistan, the Islamic State claimed responsibility for an explosion that killed at least 5 people near the foreign ministry Wednesday. Dozens more were injured. It was the second major attack in Kabul since the start of 2023. After headlines, we'll go to Afghanistan to speak with the head of the Norwegian Refugee Council, Jan Egeland. Israeli forces shot and killed a Palestinian man as he was standing on the roof of his own home in occupied East Jerusalem. The killing came during a raid on the Kalangia refugee camp. Samir Aslan was 41 years old, father of 8. He was the third Palestinian to be killed by Israeli forces in under 24 hours, following the deaths of 21-year-old Ahmed Abu Junaid and 19-year-old Sanad Mohammed Smasra in the occupied West Bank. Israel's killed at least 7 Palestinians since the start of the year, including 3 children.
Y'all know Palestine doesn't really exist. Y'all know if y'all look at a map where Palestine should be, it's going to say Israel. It doesn't even really exist, you know. It's really crazy. Now, you have countries around the world that do recognize Palestine as a place that really exists, a real country where there's real people, ethnicity, you know, and a history. They've been there way before Israel was Israel, by the way. But on the map, it doesn't recognize Palestine at all. It's just all of that area says Israel. I think it might say Gaza Strip. I don't know. I might pull up Google Maps just to look at it, but it doesn't show Palestine as existing at all. But there's a country I saw on recently that's talking about putting an embassy there to recognize Palestine. I can't remember what country it was, but it's one of those countries that people would call a communist country or whatever. Like, you know, I can't think of which country it is. But again, like I say, they don't even recognize Palestine as a country, that it even exists. Yeah, let's go to this map right quick, and then we'll play some more of Democracy Now. Oh, Elliot, you're in here. How long you been in here, bro? I apologize. I can't see this screen when I'm let me read your comments. He says, silence is acquiescence. Yes, that's what I was trying to say earlier. Thank you. He said they use Spanish as a weapon. I don't know what I was talking about at that time. He says pubmed.com. I don't know what that is either. This one, it says the Ukrainian situation is about the now blacks care less. It says the Ukrainian situation is about the now blacks could care less. I don't really, you know, I don't want to seem insensitive, but I'm kind of like on the part where Trump, America first. Hey, you can hate Trump or like Trump or love him or whatever you want to say. He's racist or he's corrupt or whatever the hell. But America first is something I can get on board with, bro. And the thing is, with any country around the world, you can't be mad at them and saying, hey, we're going to look out for our people first, and then we'll look out for the other people second. You know, I can't argue with that. So the whole thing, he says, the Ukrainian situation, the blacks could care less. I think a lot of, not just black people, United States citizens could care less for the most part. But then you got the media who feeds you this stuff and tells you that what you should care about, and then it's politically correct to care about what's happening in Ukraine, and then send them a whole bunch of money. Meanwhile, there's people living under a bridge over here in the United States. I think we should be concerned with the people that's living under the bridge over here in the United States. I think we should be concerned with the crime here in the United States. I think we should be concerned with how much it costs to go to the damn grocery store here in the United States. I think that we should care about our screwed up healthcare system here in the United States. I think we should care. She talked about it earlier. the gun violence here in the United States. You know, I think we should care about how they do child support system, how our law enforcement system is so corrupted. You know, there's a whole list. I could keep going that we should care about before what's happening in Ukraine. Not to knock their suffering, you know, but hey, I live here in the United States. I don't live in Ukraine. My neighbors are American citizens, and I care about them first before I do the people in Ukraine. And let me read this one. It says, the situation of death exists until enough blood is shed. She don't know because we are not there. Shed, yeah. Let me switch to Google Maps really quickly so y'all can see this. I lost Pat. He's tired. He works a lot. Freaking, where's Doc and Deuce? Deuce might be listening. He got in trouble at his job. They won't even let him. That's what fucking crazy about this damn world that we live in. Deuce drives trucks, and he's in the truck driving for hours and hours and hours and hours, and he can't freaking talk on the phone. He can't freaking watch any videos or whatever the hell. Like, we're so oppressed here. They expect you to just drive for hours and hours and not freaking. Anyways, this is a Google Maps. Can y'all see this? Make sure I'm sharing. Okay, yeah, this is Google Maps right here. Okay, before Israel was a thing, all of this was Palestine. All of this was Palestine. So, but I typed in Palestine in the Google Maps, and this is what popped up. But here, look, it says Israel. And then it says West Bank right here. I guess that's supposed to be Palestine. But on this map, this should say Palestine, right? It's a real thing that really exists. The people are really there. It actually does exist. But it says Israel over this whole thing right here. So, and then like if you looked at what Israel was, it would be this shape right here. It will be this shape right here. And then they say from the river to the sea. It's kind of like what they say here in the United States, from sea to shining sea or whatever. And then they talk about manifest destiny. God gave us this land. It's in the Bible. God gave us this land. This is for the Israelis. Well, what about the people that was there before? So anyways, it says Gaza Strip. It says Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, that's in Lebanon, Haifa. So yeah. So where is Palestine on this map? It doesn't say anything about Palestine on this map at all. It does have West Bank. Let me see this right quick. The West Bank. I guess the West Bank is a part of Palestine. I guess. I wonder. Hold on. Is this what I clicked on? Jerusalem, Israel. All of this is Israel. All of this is Israel. It's funny how a lot of that looks like those domes are Islamic domes, but Israelis are Jewish. So why the hell would you have Islamic freaking architecture in a Jewish deal? What is this? 29 seconds. Can I click on this? It won't let me. Anyways, I know you don't really care about this, but whatever. River Jordan. Like I say, from the river to the sea, that's Israel, as far as they're concerned. So it's crazy because these maps it shows the power of the Western world, because these Google Maps follow the Western world. The people there would disagree with this, but I guess it doesn't matter, because if you type in the Google Maps and you look at it, it's going to say it's all Israel. Where is Palestine on this map, y'all? Help me. Help me. Where is Palestine on this map? It doesn't say it anywhere on this map, y'all. It says Israel. It doesn't say Palestine. Help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. What happened to Palestine? Did it disappear? Don't exist. I know you don't care. It's whatever. Israel is a baby United States. And the settler colonialism that happened in the United States, it's like the Aboriginal Americans or the Native Americans. And to this day, they still call them Indians. And how do you call them Indians? How do you do that? How do you do that knowing that these people are in India? Like Christopher Columbus was lost. He called the people Indians because he thought he was in India. But we all know that he wasn't. But we still call them Indians to this day. What the F? Where's Palestine, y'all? Help me. Help me, help me, help me. On this map, where is Palestine? It says the West Bank, but I guess the West Bank is a part of Israel because it doesn't say anything about Palestine. Anyways, I'm losing all my freaking audience, y'all. I don't want to make y'all mad. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. They've been in war in the Middle East forever. It's never going to end. There's no two-state solution. There's no solution at all. They'll just be at war forever. And it's like they talk about wars. They talk about the war in Ukraine. They talk about other wars around the world. Is it a war going on in Palestine? Is there? No? Well, why are they fighting? Why do they need an Iron Dome? Who is Hamas? Hamas is just a freaking terrorist. Hamas, they're all terrorists. Israel has a right to defend themselves, right? They have a right to defend themselves. They have a right to build houses wherever they feel fit. God gave them the right to do it. That's why.
In Peru, the death toll from anti-government protests has risen to 48 following the ouster and arrest of leftist former President Pedro Castillo last month. Health officials said 37 civilians and 6 police officers were injured Wednesday after fresh clashes erupted in the city of Cusco. Meanwhile, thousands of people in the city of Juliaca held a mass funeral procession for 17 people killed Monday after security forces opened fire on protesters calling on Castillo's successor, Dina Boluarte, to resign. Among the dead was 17-year-old Yamilet Arequipa, a psychology student and volunteer at a shelter for abandoned animals who was fatally shot in the abdomen. Her mother spoke to reporters Wednesday.
The assassin, Dina, why doesn't she have blood on her face? My young daughter had such a bright future ahead. She wanted to visit many countries. She was a psychologist.
In Mexico, journalists in the southern state of Guerrero rallied Wednesday to demand the release of 3 of their colleagues who were kidnapped in late December. Jesus Pinto Alegre, Fernando Moreno Villegas, and Alan Garcia Aguilar work for the outlet Escenario Calentano. In a video posted to social media, 2 of the journalists can be seen with their hands and feet chained. Meanwhile, authorities in Mexico City arrested 11 people in connection with the attempted assassination of prominent television and radio host Ciro Gomez Leva in a drive-by shooting December 15th. In climate news, the United Arab Emirates has named the CEO of one of the world's biggest oil companies to preside over the COP28 United Nations climate.
Oh my God. So you got a freaking oil guy to go over the whole climate justice thing. Let me go to this because Elliot sent me a text. He said, Google the old map of Palestine, and I did it just now. Let me pull this up. Okay, can y'all see this? Not a very good, can't see it that good. Let me see. Wow, that's taking a long time to load. It says Palestine in the time of Christ. This is nice right here. I like this map. In the time of Christ. Phoenicia. Yeah, Syria up here. Galilee. Samaria. Perea. Judea. Really, all of this area right here is Palestine. It's got Gaza right here. What is that? The Gaza Strip? That looks different from... how old is this map? Let me see what else I got. So this is the shape of Palestine is this. Well, it was before Israel became a thing. Up here at the top, it's got Galilee. Let me see, they have something better. Ancient map of Palestine. Palestine map, ancient maps. Palestine, the time of Saul, about 1020 BC. Let's look at this one. I can't see this very good. Oh, well, that's better. I don't know these names. What it says? Phoenicia. It says got Lebanon. Anti-Lebanon. It's really interesting. I like this a lot. I love old maps. Don't say anything about Israel. Right here it says Philistines of Cherithim. Yeah, I don't know these names. I need to learn more about this history as far as this stuff here, because this goes way back. I don't know. What is the date for this? 1020 BC. Wow, that's a long ass time ago. 1020 BC. I bet you if you ask the Israelis, they'll be like, that's old. That's old. It's Israel now. Can we see this one? Oh, I love these kinds of maps. Man, you can't see it very good. Do they have more? Let's see. Okay, let's see this one. It says Cart von Palestine, Jerusalem, Jesus Christ. I don't know where in the Bible does it say that this is Israel's land? Somebody send me that. Send me the scripture that says that. Let's see this one. See, I don't understand it. Okay, there's Bethlehem. That's supposed to be where Jesus was born. I thought he said Jesus of Nazareth. Well, he was born in Bethlehem. That's crazy because Judaism is kind of before Jesus. Jesus is a little more recent than Judaism. How do they get to the point where they feel like this is their Palestine during the monarchy? Oh, it's got Israel written on here, on this one. Judah at the bottom. So, in biblical terms, did it have this area as Israel in the Bible? Somebody send me those scriptures if y'all can. I would appreciate that. Let's all learn together. I don't know everything. Palestine, ancient. Samaria, Perea, Judea, Jerusalem right here. Anyways, my eyes are starting to mess with my eyes because I'm trying to read. I'm trying to look at this stuff and it's too small. Jerusalem. Palestine under the judges and kings. 12 tribes. Let's look at this. The 12 tribes. Judah, Simeon, Benjamin, Dan, Ephraim, Issachar, Zebulun, Asher. Is that Nephilim? Nephathubali, God, Renbin. It shows like the battlefields. This is a cool ass freaking map right here. Still has Syria on this map. How long has Syria been around? Oh man, this is good. This will be like a class. It will take me a while. Start looking at some scriptures and let's add this all up together. Samaria. Anyways, my eyes are burning. I'm gonna have to go back. Imaginary lines. Let's read the comments. He says the names changed to confuse you. Man, because it definitely got me confused. He says imaginary lines. Abso-fucking-lutely. And I think that all of the borders are freaking so much bullshit. Don't give me the line. And when they talk about immigration, and I like to talk about migration, natural migration, like natural freaking. And then the thing is with migration, people move back and they move forth. And they talk about the southern border all the damn time. And a lot of these people don't even want to really fucking live here in the United States. They come here and they make money and they go back. And they come here for seasonal whatever. And then like that fake ass line that they wrote on the damn map, imaginary ass freaking border, imaginary ass lines, like means nothing to the people. Like the land is the land. It is what it is. My ancestors moved back and forth through here for centuries. And now you'll put up this, y'all draw this shit on the map and then y'all be like, oh, at this point, you're no longer here, or you're no longer there, or it's this country or it's that country. It's all a bunch of freaking bullshit to me, if you ask me. It's fake, not real. Let me play some more of this. My eyes are burning.
Summit when it convenes in Dubai later this year. Sultan Ahmed Al Jaber heads the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. Responding to his appointment, the anti-poverty charity Action Aid said, quote, this appointment goes beyond putting the fox in charge of the hen house. The UN Climate Summit is supposed to be a space where the world holds polluters to account, but increasingly it's being hijacked by those with opposing interests, they said. NBC News is reporting aides to President Biden have uncovered at least one additional batch of classified documents in a separate undisclosed location. This comes after news broke Monday that a first batch of classified materials were found in November in an office used by Biden after his vice presidency. CNN reported the initial documents contained intelligence related to Ukraine, Iran, and the UK. Those documents were handed over to the National Archives.
That story is pretty interesting to me because, you know, they made a big hoopla about the things related to Trump and having classified. That's the whole reason why they ran up in Mar-a-Lago and all of that stuff. So, but then now they're saying that Biden has some classified stuff that he's not supposed to have or something or whatever. The right is really jumping on this. It's all down my timeline. But then it's like pointing fingers. It's like, all I see is corruption all over the place. I say, two wings of the same bird. But then everybody wants to just point fingers. It's like, oh, Trump was having classified stuff. Da 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 da. He should go to jail. And then they're like, well, Biden has classified stuff. He's doing it too. Whatever. He should go to jail or whatever. Like, all of this is a distraction. Like, what the hell we need to be talking about is how much it costs to fucking buy a fucking orange. How much I'm getting paid in my shitty ass job. Why do I have to work 3 of them?
Sports news, Buffalo Bills defensive player Damar Hamlin has been released from the hospital to continue his recovery at home. His release came 9 days after he suffered a cardiac arrest on the field and twice had to be resuscitated during a Monday night football game against the Cincinnati Bengals. In recent years, the NFL has faced increased scrutiny over player safety as more research links the full contact sport with concussion-related traumatic brain injury and other negative health outcomes. And in labor news,
And the internet is really eating all of this up, and they're talking about the jab, and they're talking about how all of these athletes are falling out, and it's a lot of young people are dying. And I want to be careful how I talk about this because I don't want to get in trouble, but you know, somebody needs to do an independent study and release it and let us know what the fuck is related to that. You know, how many of these people got the jab and or didn't, you know? And when they talk about blood clots and they talk about heart issues, you know, beside the point of the damn NFL being a damn plantation and not really caring about people and letting them beat their body up while they make a whole bunch of money. And these people, they don't even want to take care of their fucking medical bills after they leave the NFL. They're like, we paid you a bunch of money. Hopefully you got enough money to pay for health care because, hey, we already paid you. So, yeah, I know we're still making money off of the films and the jerseys and all of that stuff when you was in there. But, you know, we already paid you. I don't know. I got to be really careful with this. But the internet has really been buzzing. The whole thing with this guy, him falling out on the field, really brought up that topic related to the jab. And the internet is really buzzing related to that.
News here in New York City, over 7,000 nurses at Montefiore Bronx and Mount Sinai Hospital have returned to work, ending a 3-day strike after reaching tentative deals with the hospitals on improving staffing ratios. The New York State Nurses Association union had already won wage increases, but striking nurses at the 2 hospitals said the ongoing staffing shortages severely impacted patient care. You can see our interview yesterday with one of the striking nurses at democracynow.org. And those are some of the headlines.
Yeah, those are some of the headlines. And I'm Amy Goodman. Let me read some comments. First comment, it says, love how McCarthy says the voters are what matters. I guess that doesn't apply to presidential candidates. Another comment, it says, Santos was good enough to vote for McCarthy before. Seems like he is exactly GOP material. I don't know. The GOP has definitely embraced this guy. Well, we did play a clip earlier where one guy was talking smack about it. So maybe there's a segment of the GOP that doesn't really embrace him. As far as I can see, he's being embraced. But there were clips. Y'all know that when they were doing the fight and about who was going to be the House Majority Leader, the C-SPAN cameras were in there, and they was able to take all of those footage. That's how we got that really funny meme. I don't know if y'all saw it. Man, I wish I had a clip of it. The voiceover clip that they did is super hilarious, related to the part where the guy got mushed. They covered his face and stuff. They changed because we couldn't hear. You only got video. You couldn't get audio. So the people did like a voiceover of it. It's super hilarious. Super funny. Had me laughing like crazy. I watched it I don't know how many times, but damn, I lost my point. Freaking what was I talking about? Santos and them embracing him, and then a certain segment not embracing him, I guess. But from what I can see, it seems like the GOP is taking him with open arms. It's like once you win an election, that's it. You won an election, you're part of the team. Arena comment says, this nursing staffing shortage is nothing new. This has been going on for decades of medical facilities shortening staffing requirements nationwide. No one appreciates nurses until they are sick or hurt, and that person in the medical uniform comes to their aid and rescue. They don't have no respect for freaking nurses, and they do all the damn work. How much time do you actually spend with the doctor when you go to the hospital or emergency room or go to a doctor's visit? You spend most of your time with the damn nurse. You know? I mean, you want to act like they're not important. They're the ones who do your IV. They're the ones who give you your medication. They're the ones who comes in and check on you. They're the ones who, clean your bed and all of that stuff, all of the dirty work. They do all of the freaking work, and the doctor comes in there and chops it up with you for like 5 fucking minutes, and then they're gone. And it's like the doctors are so important, but the damn nurses are like nothing. It's just a part of our class society. They don't get paid enough, right? I guess maybe they didn't go to school enough. I guess I don't know. Because see, doctors are considered part of like the elite, if you will. They're upperclassmen, so we're supposed to respect them. They're more important than the nurses. But ask any damn doctor, how can he do his job without the nurses? He needs them. Without them, I mean, the stuff that's on your chart, who wrote the stuff on your chart? That's what the doctor reads, the stuff that's on your chart. And he makes his decisions based on that. Who wrote that shit? Who took your vital signs? Who took your blood pressure? Whatever. Arena comment and says, George Santos is the new face of the GOP. I don't know if that's true. Another comment that says, yeah, I'm with them on that. You don't appoint somebody that is an oil mogul in charge of climate. Obviously, he paid his way to get there. I don't know if he paid his way to get there, but that shows how much they really care about climate. If they that earlier in the video, they were talking about Davos and the one that, I don't know, the speaker, the chairman, or whoever is leading it, or whatever, some old oil executive person. And most people probably wouldn't even, that would go over their head. But it's like, okay, these dudes, fucking one of the pipes just spilled like more than ever before. Which was it? Was it the Dakota Access Pipeline? I don't want to say it wrong. One of the pipelines spilled recently. And, hey, so if them dudes really care about the environment, at the very least, they can build some damn infrastructure that don't freaking spill and poison the damn land and water. Because climate change or whatever, y'all can argue about that. Is it man-made? Is it not? Do we need to go to renewables? Is electric the answer? Is nuclear the answer? Is the windmills and the dams and water, hydraulic power is the answer? Regardless of all of that, what about the pollution? What about the oil spills? What about us having fresh, clean drinking water? Like, the freaking oil companies are the worst when it comes to that. And then you're going to put them in charge of the whole thing related to climate change? That's a whole joke. It's all a whole joke. Ha ha ha. Very funny. Another comment, it says, my greatest happiness is 64,000 bi-weekly profit I get consistently from my 15,000 investment despite the economic fluctuation. I don't get your point there. Let me read another comment. It says, big oil in charge of climate talks. This too we will tolerate. Many have gone full George Carlin. No dog in the fight, just watching the freak show. I don't have no dog in the fight either, but I don't want to just watch the show. I would love to fucking burn this motherfucker down. Let me read another comment. It says, timestamp 4:38. Yeah, Kevin, he's been proven guilty. That's not speculation. He says he went to school at all these places. The schools I've never heard of him. It's one of those cases where you do not need a judge or jury to make it official. I don't know what they're talking about. Another comment. OMG, it breaks my heart seeing Cholita crying. You might not know this, but the woman dressed like that in Peru is a Cholita. They are the natives of these lands, America. And I have the honor to live close to them for some years in Argentina. These people mostly work as farmers in Argentina, but they don't own the farm. They are the workers, most of them. My mom was a rural teacher for some years. I can't explain the whole story, but these people are the most harmless, peaceful people of the world. To me, they have a huge heart and they will help anyone. The nicer people I've ever met. I also went to Peru on holidays once or twice and I got lost. The first thing I did is went where the Cholitas were for help, and I wasn't wrong. They helped me for free. Just because they have big heart and no greed, everyone treat this nation because they are a nation. So disrespectful. Like their life means nothing. And again, you don't have any idea how beautiful, peaceful people they are. So the fact they are fighting back tells me something. My heart is with that mother. I'm tired, y'all. I think I'm going to wrap it. Elliot says, who wins the war writes the history. His story. It's a fucking whole bunch of lies. I'm tired, y'all. It's 2:45 a.m. I've been on 3.5 hours. I'll be back tomorrow, y'all. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for listening. And we'll be back.